What is up, beautiful people? Welcome to How to Trade, formerly known as the Midday Show. I'm Sharif, and that is Adara. And we're going to wait for everyone to migrate on over from the other stream. We already have Isaac Roberts gracing us with his presence in the chat, saying good morning to you, Adara.
Good morning.
Nuno Rios as well. We got J-Sack. Okay, good morning, everyone. Mr. Long Shorts, JC Finance, Pedro Khan, Nick D, Ron John, Andrew Chow, Billy Turner, Ponzi Fonzie. We got Chef Joe. We got T-Money, baby. We got Ariane. We got Callum Mitchell Miller, Cell, Matt Downdy. We got Monty T, Mom, Pulsive, Charan, Peter, Esu, RH, Cass, Darwin, Adam Doluce. 60 million down the drain. Kai Havertz scores again. No one is going to know what I'm talking about there, but that's all good. We got Paul. We got Oliver. We got the Gauntlet, baby. Good morning, Adara.
Good morning. I can't believe how many songs there are for each dude in the Premier League. This is insane to me.
You have no idea.
It's a new thing I'm learning.
You have no idea.
But yeah, I mean, hello to everybody in the chat and seeing everyone in here. So happy to be back. Happy to look at these crazy markets. How are you doing? What are you looking at?
I'm
How was your
all
weekend?
right. It was okay. I mean, I'm completely thrown off by this whole daylight savings time thing. I'm not the only one, but I'll probably be better tomorrow. I tried to weasel in a midday nap yesterday. It didn't work exactly as I thought it would. I thought it'd give me a bit more, energy and rigor for the day. Such was not the case today, but these markets don't care about my energy. They don't care about my lack of rigor. They care that we're back above 18,000 or thereabouts today. We're doing the dance with no pants at that 100-point level yet again. And anybody who's been looking at the future today knows exactly what I've been looking at. 18,000 to the high side, 17.9 to the downside, and it's been bouncing off one or the other all day, all morning, or thereabouts. I mean, the IB low was 17.908, but we did actually break 17.9. The low on the day is 17.890. In case you're wondering, I'm looking at the March 15th contract for the last day. Tomorrow I will be rolling over to the new one. But for today, we're going to be looking at this 18,000. Well, because really the reason is I've been given great levels off which to work. 17.9 to the downside, 18,000 to the top side. Now, if you break and hold above 18,000, this will present us with a good opportunity here to take something long. Otherwise, we'll look for that rinse and repeat range trade that it's been providing us all day. We'll have a look as the show goes on to see what we'll do with the future there. Bit of an interesting day for NVIDIA. It looked like it was going to continue to head south, but now it's back in Greensville, breaking through that 875 again. You saw the big kahunas talk about that. But we're going to look at some of these, some other small cappers that are running on the day, several triple-digit winners today at Adara, so we'll be talking about a lot. So what are you looking at here before I start the lesson of the day?
Yeah, small cappers definitely are winning today. I'm involved in this Nova Nordisk short. I saw a range. I said, yes, sign me up, please. I do have the weight loss names permanently on my side charts because, as Sharif has said, sometimes I like trading the GLP-1s, just who I am. My one issue, though, is I think this might be more of like a reverse head and shoulders move than I initially was intending. And I say that because we get into that area of that 131.40 where we had that earlier move back up. And we come back almost to my point of entry. If we break above this 131.9, I'm going to have to get out. But I'm going to be cognizant. I'm going to keep an eye on it. I'd like to take out some profit at the bottom of this range, but this range might be moving against me. Going to stay nimble and going to hopefully stay in this trade.
Sounds good. Nimble is good. All right, let's talk about identifying volatile markets. We're going to be talking about volatility all week. Today, we're going to look at what the earmarks are of a volatile market and what to look for and what indicators to use, as well as what other tools to use. So let's get started. So obviously, goes without saying that the thrill of day trading can be amplified during volatile markets, but believe it or not, so is the risk. So knowing how to identify these periods is crucial to any day trader. Here are some key ways to spot these volatile markets. So news and events, first and foremost. So big one is significant economic releases like interest rate changes or employment numbers like non-farm payrolls or even CPI that we're getting tomorrow. I believe we're getting CPI tomorrow, aren't we? Yeah, thank you. These can all trigger volatility as investors react and reposition their holdings, as well as major company earnings reports or geopolitical events. These can create crazy market swings. Keep a calendar up of upcoming events to monitor news feeds and stay ahead of the potential volatility. On this phone right here, thanks to Affirm, that I'm paying. Oh, I've only got one more payment left on this phone. This is fantastic news. On my phone, on my calendar, I've put in the NVIDIA GTC conference that we have from Monday to Thursday next week, all the while knowing that we could get volatility on NVIDIA during those days. So you got to mark the economic calendars, mark the interest rate decisions, the NFPs, etc. Have those up on your calendar so you're aware of them the previous day so you can prepare for them. You can get all your futures levels ready, etc., etc., etc. So you're looking for economic releases, news releases, interest rate changes, employment numbers. You're looking for earnings, geopolitical events as well. Keep your eye on all that stuff. That it all has effects on the market. Price action, very important as well in IDing volatile markets. So you're looking for erratic price movements. Are stocks experiencing a sudden jump or a sudden dip than what would be typical for that name on that particular day? This might indicate increased buying or selling pressure, which is obviously a sign of volatility. So keep your eye on the price action and, make comparisons to how that instrument is trading on the day versus how you've seen it trade in the past. Is it trading outside its average true range, etc.? You can look at any number of these indicators. And some technical indicators that you can use obviously is, I just prefaced it, ATR, average true range. This is a measure of the average price fluctuation over a set period. So a rising ATR suggests increasing volatility. So typically the average true range is calculated over a 14-day period or so. The standard is, you can obviously alter that. The standard, though, is 14. So if you're looking at the ATR for a particular name and the price action just keeps pumping up, the ATR is going to increase as well. So a rising ATR could be a signal of increasing volatility in the market in general or just that particular name. Bollinger Bands, also really interesting tool for determining or detecting volatility. These bands widen when volatility increases and they contract when they're calmer. So I think, maybe when I read this initially, I was thinking, just look at Bollinger Bands and then you can kind of have an idea of where the stock is trading relative to its overall range. But that's not what it's being used for here. Let me just put in Bollinger Bands. What we're looking for here is the space between the Bollinger Bands. And why isn't it showing me my Bollinger Bands that I've so kindly requested over here? Hello, computer. It is. It's holding out, Adara. That's no good. All right. Well, I'll set this up after, but the whole point here with Bollinger Bands is that when they widen, you're typically getting more volatility. When they're contracting, when they're closer together, less volatility. Like here's a case in point. Look at Apple today. This is the 5-minute look on Apple. Don't make too much of this, but just to give you an idea, the blue line on the top is the top end of the Bollinger Band. The purple line on the bottom is the bottom end. You can see here it's widened as the volatility is starting to increase, but in the pre-market, when the price range was tight, the bands are closer together. So when you look at that on the daily or the weekly, it can often preface or give you indications that the volatility for that particular name is increasing because the bands are expanding. But you also have the VIX, which is actually very interesting. I learned something about the VIX from our friend Josh Brown there on the compound on the weekend. He was talking about how to use the VIX specifically. We'll get into that a little bit later. But the volatility index was created by the Chicago Board of Exchange, the CBOE, where the futures are traded, as a numeric measure of market volatility. It gauges the future bets investors are making on the direction of individual assets or the wider market. A high VIX reading implies a riskier market, or just, in general, it's not so straightforward like that. But, keep your eye on the VIX. Trading volume, also super important. Market volatility often coincides with higher trading volume. So a sudden surge in volume compared to the usual activity for a stock or asset class can be a sign of the volatility is on the horizon. So keep your eye on trading volume as well for an indication that market volatility is coming. And market sentiment. The last but not least, news articles, social media, analyst opinions. These can all contribute to market sentiment. So be, very cognizant of that, and be aware of any widespread bullishness or bearishness, as strong emotions can also fuel volatility. Just some basic stuff to keep your eye on when you are looking to gauge volatility, Adara.
Yeah, and I think the thing is too is like volatility isn't, as Neil and Sean were saying earlier today too, it's not really necessarily bad for day traders, right? It's kind of like the food. Like if you don't have a volatile market, it kind of gets a little bit slower. And also, as we've discussed during certain weeks on trends or on certain indicators, there are certain indicators that work better if you have a trending or more volatile market, right? So there's certainly always aspects to keep in mind with regards to volatility and these markets. And that's what I have to say right now. But yeah, I think it's really exciting lesson, really excited for this week because I think it's kind of one of the, I saw someone in the chat named Bread Butter. I think this is kind of maybe one of the breads and butters of the market, right, in terms of indicators. So I think I'm really excited to get more into this as the week unfolds. And I know some people mentioning as well, VXX, we need to look up exactly what that is, but I know that might be a different, so this is a short-term futures for the VIX. Let's look at the VXX because we're talking about the VIX, we're talking about volatility. Let's take a look at this. Is this on? Yeah, there we go. Oh yeah, so this one, it's interesting too. You can actually trade like versions of this. Actually, 4 million shares too on the day. So nice volume here for VXX. Yeah, we had a little bit of support coming to resistance to that 1466 area. But yeah, regardless, just interesting too how you can trade and look at different versions of the VIX or the volatility index. And yeah. Interesting lesson. What are you looking at right now?
I'm looking at NVIDIA. It just came right into VWAP. It didn't give me too long there at 870, and now it's back up in 873. I was just literally trying to put my order in which to punch, and this one is acting like a small cap gapper in its transient. It's so transient. I can't talk, guys. I'm tired, so you're going to have to forgive me today. But this one dipped right into 870. Here comes 874 as it looks to go green yet again. I had my eye on that VWAP level initially, and then it kind of cleared it with a vigor. So then I started looking at this white horizontal line, that 875 or high 874s. That's where we closed out on Friday. So that's always an important level for me. But VWAP held to the dang T. It did actually, I saw some prints below 870. I did. I saw some in the 869s, but so brief were they, I don't even think we crossed on the ask. So aggressive moves on NVIDIA on the day. We're going to keep watching this one. Perhaps it presents us another dip trade opportunity near that VWAP area. Okay. We also did the shimmy wick dance with the future at 18,000. So we broke above 18,000, but we kept wicking into that 200 period and closing at or below that 18,000 level. We closed actually a couple of candles over here on the 5, closed above 18,000. And now we're dipping right back again below and about to break that 50-point level at 17,950. So we could get another opportunity for 17.9 in the same way that we got another opportunity for 18. So the future continuing to range about 100 points or so from the low to the high. Don't tell that to Google though, because Google doesn't have any idea that the futures are ranging today, Katina, man. Gosh. Because what's going on with Google is it's just higher highs and higher lows, despite the fact that the future's zigzagging. Yeah. So the future's doing one thing and Google is doing another thing over here at Dara. It's been knocking on the door of 138.5 all morning and nobody's opened the door because we're still stuck at 45 highs. But that 138 level now, if you zoom in a little bit more, we're starting to have these bottoming tail candles off 138, meaning somebody's sitting there with an order at that whole dollar level every time we dip in. Right back up we go. Derek got startled again. Yeah. You should know that. I usually smash on the desk by now, right?
But you like to add an element of surprise to it. I never know when.
I love it. Yeah, so we've been doing this this great look on Google. I don't know if you had an opportunity to have eyes on this today, Adair, but Google's awfully looked good, awfully strong. Can you talk?
The 1 hour, some people were saying, oh, it's only an hour. I can tell you it hit me as well because I was saying to Sharif, I woke up on Sunday and was like, oh, darn, I slept for 12 hours, but then felt slightly better and then I only slept for 11. So we're all feeling the heat of the exhaustion of this losing an hour, I will say. Also, I did have eyes on Google, because what I wanted to say on that was, I think it's interesting because it is moving up, you're correct, but it's also moving up in a way that's kind of rangy. It might actually have some opportunities for myself. And I say that because if you see this, we do have these kind of repeated touches of certain areas. There's a lot of action here around the 9 EMA. The only thing that makes me nervous is we just made a lower high. So we could be kind of moving down here, right? So I think I'll be cognizant, but if we do see this kind of range develop here to the upside, don't mind if I do, I have to say. Also, thank you so much to Tisha Perkins for the $4.99 super chat. PIK, off lows and off the watch list. Can you check out? Yes, I can. Yeah, Kid Pick. I don't love the name of that company. PIK, let's see, I don't remember if they had any news. Did they have news here? No. We didn't have any specific news on this one. They had a really low float. I'm going to check the watch list to see what I had as the float here. There we go. I think it was definitely under 1 million. I can say that confidently. So Kid Pick, yeah, 356,000 share float was what I was seeing. Yeah, this is, okay, you know what's interesting to me here? This is what's interesting to me. Oh, didn't draw a line, thought I did, that's okay. This to me is fascinating. Look at this. We had this support here earlier of that 8 area, then we come up and we bounce hard off that 8 area or I guess we reject. We fall off that 8 area. In terms of the other areas that are kind of interesting to me, I think we had a little bit of a range top here, very slight in the pre-market for around that 9 area. We did have some support off the 9 area. That could also be of interest. Also, the 9 is sort of near where VWAP is right now. But yeah, I don't want to like assume levels are there that aren't there. The main level here I am seeing is that $8 level. So that's going to be my main level I'm seeing. Let's look at the daily chart here to see what we're doing on the day. Oh, Nimit, yeah, thank you, Nimit. I knew that this was in the watch list as well, so I guess I missed that. But yeah, PIK did have a reverse split on Thursday, March 7th, the 1-for-5 reverse split. Yeah, that was in the watch list and something that I completely negated to mention today. So thank you very much for that, Nimit. Yeah, it's a little hard with the reverse split to kind of get a read on the daily chart, but in terms of the 3-minute, the 5-minute, I would be very cognizant of that $8 level. I hope that happens. I hope that helps, Tisha, and thank you very much for your chat. Someone asking why you keep saying future. So it's like the futures contract. So it's the NQ. Usually when Sharif's saying the futures, he's usually talking about the NQ futures. Yes. And yeah, that's the future contract. That is the future. So I hope that helps. Natty, some other people in the chat here as well, asking about this. Also, there was another one I wanted to look at for someone here. Oh yeah, Diamond Realty Miami, asking about Coinbase. Coin on the backside? Yeah, let's see here. Let's take a look at Coin. Ooh. Okay. Yeah, I think it's, like I said, I have a really hard time analyzing these Bitcoin adjacent stocks on technical levels because they do kind of tend to do their own thing, 21, and they're very receptive to Mother Bitcoin. You know, Obi talks about Mother Market. I like to think that these guys respect Mother Bitcoin. Okay. But regardless, there is an interesting level here I see forming at 272. There was a nice bounce off 272. Throughout the pre-market, and then we fall down there with a viciousness. We make a nice bottom at 258.50, then kind of curl back up. I think we're holding the 9 EMA pretty nicely, but again, I would maybe take this with a grain of salt, and I would always be very cognizant to look at whatever your chart you're using to look at Bitcoin and see what Bitcoin's doing as well. Also, someone was asking me, I think it was someone by the name of Michael in the chat, about my Novo Nordisk short and what the logic there was. So yeah, I totally get it. I'd like to talk about this, and actually I'm going to punch out of this right now because this is where I wanted to leave. But yeah, so basically what happened here was I liked the range on this, right? We have that move down here to that 130, 130, then we pop up into 130, 170s. I liked it. I said, I want in. So I got in here, took out some of this because I was noticing we were having a little bit of difficulties breaking below this area. And that's also an area where we had a little bit of a hold earlier. So I thought this could revert into becoming a little bit of a inverse head and shoulders type move, which I wanted no part of. I wanted none of that smoke. So I took out some of it there. Then we came back down here and I decided that was where I was going to take out the whole kit and caboodle because that was where we had that earlier area of support as well. And as I say that, we're bouncing off. I still have some shares in this, so I might have to, figure that out to deal with that. Also worth noting, I was briefly in an AMD long. We lost out on that, but I want to talk about that for the sake of transparency. I got involved in this because I liked A, that this was that earlier area of bounce, that 202 area. B, we were actually holding this pretty well on that candle. And C, we had earlier bounced off the 9 EMA. It didn't work out. I gave it 80 pennies and I got out. I have to say, even though it didn't work out, I am proud of this trade because I got out where I needed to get out. And I still use the levels I like to get in the first place. But yeah, that's neither here nor there. We're out of Novo Nordisk, and I am pleased as punch.
I like it.
How are you doing?
Good. Just trying this meta trade over here. It's bouncing off VWAP. We'll talk about that. But Nimit has been waiting for my small cap recap. So we're going to go, well, not the official small cap recap, a pseudo small cap recap. We'll do one for you live in living color here in Nimit. Look. The main one on my scanner at the moment is this bad boy here by the name of TCBP. Company name is TC Biopharm Holdings, $1.64 million market cap. This thing is minuscule, all right? So we got to be really careful with this one. Now, first and foremost, we're going to talk about the company profile with respect to float. 2.2 almost million share float. Let's find out what the short float is, if any. TCBP. Now, it's a negligible short float, and we also have a bit of a discrepancy between what Trade Ideas is showing as a float versus what I'm seeing on my platform. I see 17.2 on Trade Ideas. I see 2.188 on mine. So in any event, it's a negligible short float. Nothing really to write home about there. So we don't need to concern ourselves with that. But here is the look on the name. So let me just put in the ticker real quick. I don't even think this is a really good one to trade at the moment, not the way that it's trading right now. But we're going to cover it because it's the #1 on the gap scanner. So this has a definable pre-market high. So check, right? This one made its top there at 4:20 a.m. at $1.98. Did we break above $1.98 after the pre-market? Yes, we did. We got all the way up. What's going on with this thing? Why is it not updating? I don't understand. So bizarre. So bizarre. The chart is not updating. I have no idea why. Oh, here we go. I just had to refresh it. So, I see. So the definable pre-market high at 198, we break through. Well, it wasn't even 198. Sorry, I just hadn't scrolled all the way. It was 211. That was the definable pre-market high. We broke through that. And then some right at 940 there. The high is 317. So you got a couple of check marks beside its name there. The only thing really holding me back from trading this at the moment is the fact that it's trading south of VWAP. VWAP is at that 238 or thereabouts, a little above 2 1/3. However, what I do like about this chart right now, it seems to be holding that pre-market high as its current low. So look at the trading that we're doing right here near 210, 220, 215. That is basing out at the highs that we had there in the morning at around 8 a.m., 7:50 to around 8:10 a.m. Those were all the highs. So it's holding that base. So this one, despite the fact that it is south of VWAP at the moment, it still is enticing me possibly here to get long if this was to make its way above VWAP. So we're going to continue to watch that one. BALY, I think this is a buyout. Is it a buyout?
Yes,
it is, yeah. I didn't even look at the chart. I mean, I didn't look at the news catalyst.
To buy them out.
I can just look at the chart and I can tell you it's a buyout. That we had that pump right there at 930, and then we get that sideways move where it starts ranging in super tight. And yeah, it's not doing much, so can't really look to be trading that. That's an entirely different type of trade for the buyout there. The other one, STI, this one had broken and dipped well below VWAP at $1.12 there. VWAP was at $1.25, but it's since regained those levels. It's right back above the volume weighted average price, trying to go into that $1.30 and trying to break. Well, the high is only $1.43, so we're only about 15 pennies off the highs at the moment on STI. I didn't give you guys the deets on this one. So the details on STI, 104, 105, 107 now, $108 million market cap. It kept going up because the price kept going up. 2.4 million share float there, Adara. So not minuscule, but quite small. Let's bring in Trade Ideas and see what the short float, if any, is on STI. Let's find out. So this one, we don't have the short float reflected here. And again, there's a discrepancy between the float being shown by Trade Ideas and the one I'm seeing on my platform. So something to be cognizant about there. Anyway, this one is tradable in my books. Now we're going to have to figure out how to weasel our way in. STI looking real good.
Yeah, that one had a nice little move up, and they also are like evil related.
A little bit.
I think that I know you like the evil looks as well. The those electronic vehicles. So I thought that was
eVTOLs.
Yeah, eVTOLs. Yes, right.
Yes,
I can't think of the
yes. I got you. I got you.
Thank you. Appreciate that. But yes, that's a pretty cool look. Also, this Boeing, I'm kind of entranced by. Let me count the ways. I like that we had this move down here off that 191.40. Then we bounce, or I guess we reject once again off that 191.40. Now we do make a higher low, so it does kind of mess up the short thesis a little bit. But either way, it gives us a nice area of resistance. Then that area becomes support. We start bouncing here at 11.12. So as Sharif was giving us our lovely lesson, then we bounce once again just now as I am yakking. So I think this could be an interesting little look here in terms of a range. And also, I just noticed another area. You can probably take this into that 192 area because that was where we had that bounce earlier as well. So I think this is kind of a fascinating look potentially on this Boeing. Gives you about, like 50 pennies of range. I've taken range trades with less wiggle room. So I don't have an issue with that. I'm going to keep an eye on this to kind of let this materialize. I think this could be interesting. I'm also still looking at Novo.
Sharif board?
Novo, Nordisk, or Novo Nordisk, what have you. Because I think either this range continues or the other way you could look at this, and the way that I'm tempted to look at this right now, we get this massive move down, now we're consolidating. Could this be a bear flag? Could it? I don't know. I want to wait and see a decisive break of the low here. That's really what I'm looking for. So we had some movement down here into that 131.20s. I want to see a decisive break below that. If we continue to see this range hold up, I might take this long back into the range, but I'm tempted to think we might fall here. So I'm going to keep an eye on this. I'm interested in getting involved in either way. Cam, I think it was Kumran in the chat asking me, I apologize, I probably got the name wrong here, asking me about Eli Lilly. I always have thoughts of Eli Lilly, but today my thought is I should not be involved in her, and I'll tell you why. So I think generally to me, this is just not a range trade. We keep having movement down. We're near the low of day. This is not the type of dance I like to tango with. You know what you talk about the wick shimmy dance? Eli Lilly's doing the dance to the downside, and that is just not a dance that I'm equipped to join her in right now. The spread isn't even bad. It's like a 21 penny spread, so that's small potatoes for Eli Lilly. I just think until a range develops, and I have drawn lines here, in case a range does develop, I have my areas of interest, but right now it's just not materializing. So I'm going to have to politely decline her offers to join the party here. Although Novo actually can get, Diamond Realty Miami saying Novo looks like it's going to bounce. I agree. I pull it up now and it looks like it's bouncing again. I might have to get involved here in at least a range trade. So I'm going to wait for another candle here of decision and hop in. I don't have much read on much right now. I wish I was in a trade. I'm looking for opportunities. Novo looking like the type of trade I would be taking right now, though Microsoft actually a little bit rangy on the 3 as well, so I'm going to have to keep an eye on that. How goes Meta and STI?
Meta out of the money. STI, we're trying to take this break through the top here at $1.45. My line is saying is going to be $1.30, so we'll risk about 9 pennies on this trade over here. We need this one to hold that general area. I really should be putting $1.35 because that is where the peak is over here. It's doing the dance that high, so we'll see whether we get that continuity. We're looking for 44 prints there. We get 44s. Now we're looking for 49s if we can get the squeeze into the $0.50. I put it a smidge in front of the $0.50 because, well, we know typically sometimes we make it up into that general $0.50 vicinity, but not necessarily cross. And the way to get the 50 print is you gotta cross on the ask, and sometimes we don't get that. So that's the move there. I'm gonna get out of Meta here, as if it breaks this 485, that is gonna be my line in the sand. The reason being is we were looking at this area of consolidation, the high end of the consolidation, acting as a level of support. We had that show up over here where we dipped into that level of support and held up. So if we don't hold in this general area here on META, that's going to have to be my line in the sand for that one. So we'll get out if it breaks that level decidedly. But we're looking for that general 485 hold on META. We'll see what we get here. The future on the way down just broke through the 50-point level again. So if we don't get a bounce off these levels, that's going to be an L here on META. Looking at some other side charts here, nothing really tickling my fantasy at the moment. The Katina Man did bring to my attention though, and so we're gonna have to cut it here on Meta. The Katina Man did bring my attention though. AMD right back at 200 again. So now it's below 200. So now it's really taking it on the chin here, and we may not even hold up at this 1 we didn't even hold up at 200 for all that long, Katina, man. We are on the way down. So this one printing aggressively below 200, breaking through that $0.50 and now coming into that $0.25 area. We'll see if this one does the wick shimmy quickly below 2 and then reclaims 2 again. So we'll have eyes on that one to see if it is able to hold that general area. But yeah, AMD 200 should be an interesting area. Anastasios, ostentatious. Oh my God, that's how tired I am today. Ostentatious Productions, MicroStrategy 1600. Let's have a look. Let's pull in the side chart and MSTR. See what Michael Saylor was on CNBC today, and he was like, you know, probably taking a victory lap, all-time highs. Why wouldn't you?
But you and Brendan say he never smiles, which is true.
He
always looks
doesn't.
very grumpy.
He doesn't. Someone in the chat said he used to have like fake smiles on all the time during interviews, and then I guess maybe he got called out for that, so he stopped doing it. I have no idea. But MicroStrategy is a monster. I mean, this was in triple digits, like I think late 2 weeks ago. Early last week, something like that. It wasn't 4 digits. We weren't above $1,000, and now we're well above $1,000, 1600 area. Yeah, fantastic. Look, you know, not something I'm going to trade on the show, obviously, owing to the price and the spread. But yeah, who could dislike this look on Bitcoin and Bitcoin-related products as this thing heads into, I'm not going to call it all-time highs because I know it was higher than that, but MicroStrategy is on the way. I'm keeping eyes here on AMD at 200. I like this trade. Not sure exactly how I'm going to execute on it or what I'm going to do, whether it's going to be a long or a short. I'm going to keep eyes on it, though, and then make a decision. It's a bit zigzaggy here for my liking, and that typically means I can't really ID key areas of support or resistance, and if I can, it's not really respecting them all that much. So keeping AMD up on the chart, and we're going to see if we can print on it. STI right back up above 140 again. I'm looking for a $0.50 break here, but STI making me pack my patience and wait up a storm ram as it doesn't want to print that red line. So if you could talk to it, Ramin, see if maybe we can entice this one into printing. Roland Joe, are you trading with less size now that you're tired? Yes. Dan, has MicroStrategy surpassed its year 2000 high yet? Year 2000? What? Dan, what's going on over there? I'm too tired for that kind of stuff. What else we got over here? Kyle Burdett, how you doing, brother? Started off the week off smoking the shorts at open. Market is almost as fiery as these homemade jalapeno pickled eggs I made. Adara would love some of those. Send some her way, baby. She likes all the spices and all the pickled jalapenos. Shout out to Big Kyle Burdett. Shout out to Diamond Realty of Miami as well. Rivian on the backside. Oh, okay. We're going to have to see what Rivian is doing. I'll pull that up in a minute, Adara.
Yeah, let's take a look at Rivian. I want to look at that in a second, but right now I have Broadcom up here. And Broadcom, we did have earnings last week, a couple mentions here of Broadcom, so I thought I'd take a look at this one. Yeah, I remember I was on with Obi as substituting for Sharif a while back. We were looking at this chart when it just was kind of above 1,000. We were like, I know you took a trade of Broadcom, it was above 1,000 as well. So I think this Broadcom has had at times some interesting day trade potentials. Right now, it's interesting. We're still above VWAP. We're kind of hanging out. I don't really have any levels here, but yeah, it's a really nice look. We're still down 2% on the day, though. So we're trying to make a bit of a recovery. I think obviously we'd have to eclipse that, I can't believe I'm saying this, 1,300 level for Broadcom to keep this move up here. I believe, did they fall on earnings? They did fall on earnings. Yes, they did. Yeah, we had a steady decline here. But you know what's interesting, too, is where we are right now was an earlier area of support. Or sorry, yeah, resistance. We had a bit of resistance here at that 1282s. Now we're coming back here. Let's see if we bounce. Like I said, you know, support and resistance isn't always going to be perfect, and a lot of these chip names tend to kind of do their own thing. But I think this could be an interesting look here. Also, there's another. Oh yeah, Rivian. Let's see if Rivian's getting revved up here. Also, lots of really interesting discussions between Brendan and Sean about Rivian on the podcast. Oh. So you get to hear Brendan's thoughts on Rivian and Brendan and Sean's thoughts on the R2. So please check that out. Really fun show as always, but I really enjoyed this one. I think there was a lot of good conversation to be had there. Oh, we get a Sean cameo.
Walk and talk. He's going to do a walk and talk, baby.
With the hat to match.
DLTR. If you guys are down with the walk and talks, one's going to get posted pretty soon.
Potentially.
Potentially.
He doesn't want to promise it. They have to happen organically.
Yeah.
Talks. Yeah.
The thoughts have to come.
What to say.
Exactly. That's what it was.
I'm not a man of many words.
Bro, really? He says he's not a man of many words. Who believes that? Do we need to put a poll in the chat there? No, we all know the Katina man knows how to drop hot lines, baby.
Oh, yeah.
That's just the way it is around here. Wow, MicroStrategy is really going here, Adara. 16,017. It's up $17 since we talked about it last.
What?
Yeah.
Pardon?
It's up $17. Yeah, I mean, I don't know what else to say.
Yeah, I mean, it's a fact.
Flying up. MicroStrategy, 16.20. It's up $20 now since we talked about it last. $21 now, Adara. 17 2/3%. Yet you look at the mining names, and they're all red. All of them. Unequivocally all red. Mara, down 5%. Riot, down 2.1. CleanSpark, down 7.5. Hut 8, down another 7.5. Everything red when it comes to mining, again, likely due to the halving event and the fact that they will have to expend a lot more energy and use more equipment to mine the same amount of Bitcoins. And so we're going to have to see what they tell us with respect to their efficiency, with respect to their cost, with respect to the margins, because this halving event really has an effect on these mining names. It happened in 2020. I didn't watch the mining names at the time to see how they reacted price action wise, but I'm watching now and I can see it live in living color. So we'll have to see it. Coin ripping, says Diamond Realty of Miami. Kevin Mendoza says we must pamp it up. How do you feel about that? You want to?
Yeah, I mean, I can't say it, pamp it. I don't know, but yeah, I agree. I think we can pamp it up. I know you're in a long, so that would be very, very beneficial for this.
It's
this
kind
long
of like,
here
you
as
know,
well.
it's its own thing. There's a small cap
that's
gapper,
true.
so
I
it could do anything at any time it pleases. It doesn't really care about the NQ. You know how these small cap gappers
That's a good
work.
way of putting it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like it does what it wants to do when it wants to do it. The market could be all the way down, and this one's new high, 2,000% to
exactly.
the upside, right?
Exactly.
So it's a good point. But hopefully that one does its own pamp it up. We'll have to
Pamp
see there. Yeah, pamp it. But yeah, so I have AstraZeneca up here for Nick W asking about AstraZeneca as a swing. So let me look at the daily and weekly on this. Yeah, I mean, let me see. I'm not really seeing a lot here. I'm going to be honest. We did just have a lower low. We had this really gorgeous area here of consolidation, at least gorgeous for me, I say as a range trader, from October 24th to about December 11th. That's about a month and a half of consolidation. Now what's interesting though here too is we're popping back up into this other area where we had a little bit of chop and turn, right? And I say that, look, we had from September 13th to about October 17th, we had a little bit of a consolidation range around here. So we're coming into the mid part of that range, about that $68 level.
So funny.
The thing that concerns me here, though, is that we are still seeing, for the most part, lower highs and lower lows. Like, this to me seems like we're still in a bit of a downtrend for AstraZeneca. We haven't really had a shot in the arm that it might need to continue to move up. Let's look at the 5-day/weekly chart here for AZ and AstraZeneca. See if this is a better look. Let me zoom a little bit here. Yeah, I'm still seeing, honestly, I have to say, Nick W, I'm still seeing a bit of a downtrend here, and I think it might even be more pronounced on the 5-day. I think if we can make a higher high above that 70 area, I think that'd be good. But right now, it looks like we're continuing to move slowly and steadily to the downside in AstraZeneca. Although the other thing, though, too, in the weekly that I noticed here, we did have that double bottom of 61.40. That could be of interest, but honestly, I'd be probably waiting for that break above 70, at least in the weekly, because that would be a higher high. So that's my take on AstraZeneca. I hope that helps. And I just think,
Fantastic.
yeah, to me, there's just not a lot of confirmation factors to the upside for this one right now.
Coinbase tap 271 and flush, says Diamond Realty of Miami. Let's have a look at that. I've got Moderna up because, well, it's up. It was up over 12% on the day today. So, you know, probably should look at it. It only caught an upgrade, guys. I mean, it didn't do anything that special. But here's Coinbase. Great recovery there off the bottom. 257s got up to 271. Now it's down into 267 area. It's a smidge above VWAP. VWAP on my chart's a little bit below 266, or, you know, maybe in the high 265s. You know, look, it's putting in higher lows and higher highs off that big flush into 257 there at around 5 to 10 or so. I'm not sure exactly how to weasel into this. There is this obviously definable bottom here on the 1 minute at 266.5. I could look to get long and then hold that line in the sand, or I could put a dip trade at 266 for that VWAP dip. Look, it hasn't really respected VWAP all that much on the day. So maybe like as I speak about this and think about it out loud, VWAP isn't really a level off which I should be basing a trade, owing to the fact that it hasn't really looked at it as a level off which it's bouncing or rejecting off today. I'm talking about coin and the volume weighted average price. It's been zigzagging a little bit above, a little bit below, and really not paying all that much respect to the level, so then why use it? And that's what Adair and I always talk about. If you're gonna use a particular level, it's gotta make sense on the day, right? If the instrument you're looking at is, you know, not showing it any sort of respect, why use it, right? Anyway, so I'm looking right now for a possible bounce. Let's see if it is going to start respecting VWAP at this level. If it does, maybe we'll look at something on the back end, as my friend Neil likes to say, or we'll just forego it altogether. But, you know, we're looking to participate in strength today, and there's no question about the fact that all-time highs on Bitcoin, we haven't made all-time highs on Ethereum quite yet, but we're back above 4,000 bucks on Ethereum. So Ethereum's up almost 0.5% on the day. It's at $4,039. So everything in crypto world saving except for the mining names are all pumping to the high side. And yeah, so we'll look to participate in something in that sector. Just what at the moment, not exactly sure. And then as you can see here, Coinbase not respecting the volume weighted average price, breaking down now below it. So we'll have to find a different level off which to base a trade or just forego it altogether. I'm looking at my side charts here, and the one thing that keeps running to the high side, irrespective of what the market is doing, goes by the ticker GOOGL. It is continuing to pump to the high side here, Adair. Google now up almost 2.5% on the day. Doesn't matter if it's Goog or Google, they're both up. They're identical in percentage today, or just were a second ago. And here we go, we're printing high days, 138.74. We are at the high right now. And it really, again, this one hasn't really given you much of a dip trade. You've really had to just punch in near the highs and then watch it continue to go up because it didn't retrace in the volume weighted average price. It hasn't respected the 10 EMA on an even closing basis or a wick basis. It's been breaking below it, closing below it as well. So Google, the strength is there. It's just about a matter of figuring out how to get in, and you're not seeing that strength reciprocated on any other Mag 7 name, right? I mean, we had some strength earlier in Apple. We've given up the ghost. We're below VWAP on Apple. We're below 173 on Apple. So it's really been Google that continues to pump up here. And as I've been talking, it's printed like 3 or 4 new highs there. So Google continuing to be strong. Let's flip back to STI, see what's up with that. There we go. We get the break there through the $0.50 on STI. Now let's see if we can continue to print to the high side. I'm going to sit at 55s because what is life without whimsy? Let's see if we can get that big break. Now, Adair, we're having trouble crossing through 50 here. So surprise, surprise, the other side of the book over here, which is the ask, is not printing anything. But there we go. Okay. So now can we get prints above 50? We're getting prints above 50. Can we see some 55s? Can we see 100% on the day? Right now it's topping up at 52s. Looks like there's a hidden seller at 52s. Can we eat him up? Eat him up, Lions. Eat him up. Do you know that I went to a Detroit Lions game in 2009 when they were 0-16? And we cheered them on. We were like bringing signs to mock them. We're like,
That's
eat them up,
horrible.
Lions, eat them up. And we kept saying, eat them up, Lions, eat them up. And then we were asked kindly to leave.
I was gonna say, yeah, I feel like that's
We trolled the
That's a
hell out of
lot.
them, Neil. Yeah. Do you remember that 0-16 season? 09, baby. That was. Eh? It was Matt Stafford, man. That was Matt Stafford still back then. Yeah. Anyway.
Wow.
What are you looking at over there, Adara?
Yeah, I'm looking at my dreams die in this meta short. No, I'm joking. I think this move here is, I thought we were seeing lower highs, lower lows. I liked as well that we had kind of this rejection here off that earlier area, that we had a bit of support. I like support return to resistance. I'm giving this to 487, so I'm giving this a little bit more wiggle room than I would normally give a trade. Yeah, pamp it to the rest of the market, but meta, if you could not, I'd be cool. No, I'm joking.
Of course.
But yeah, meta's been, thank you, I appreciate that. Meta's been pretty weak here on the day. We're still down in the day. We did have the recovery here, and it looks like I'm going to have to get out of this as we speak. I want to see what we do with this 487s, but it looks like this is going to have to be the time that I slide out of Meta's DMs and I say goodbye into the sunset. And I will, oh no, it's interesting. We did actually get that rejection. Okay, this is interesting. I'm going to let Meta do her thing 21, because I think if I sit here and stress over that, that will be fun for exactly no one. So let's look at Tesla and Apple, because Slurpee in the chat, you know, I'm from the 7-Eleven capital of Canada, and we do love Slurpees. So for that, let's look at Tesla and Apple for Slurpee. Tesla got nice downside here move. It looks like, honestly, these nice 9 EMA rejections, this is the level I'm trying to be less reliant on, but sometimes you have to call a spade, and in this case, there is this nice little continued movement off this level. Sharif is pumping his fist, so I'm assuming STI is working out quite nicely for him. But yeah, this Tesla move down is interesting. I think the one area I would absolutely be watching here, though, for an area of potential resistance is gonna, or sorry, support, it's gonna be that earlier area of resistance, that 176.40 area. Let's look as well at the 5-minute, because with Tesla, sometimes you might want, a bit of a wider range for the Cybertruck. We could actually, we're seeing a little bit of top and churn here, a little bit of consolidation. We're in that 177.56. This could reverse, but we're going to have to wait and see on that. I would like to make absolutely no assumptions, because I know with a name like Tesla, it will kind of do whatever it would like to do, and it does not care one iota about your feelings. Let's look at Apple as well. Oh, okay. Apple, yeah, Apple's a little bit more interesting to me just from a range perspective. We did have that. I honestly wish I'd seen this earlier. This was right after the open, though, so I would not have been trading. But we had this movement here from 173 to 173.90, so a bit of a range. Then we fell below. How was STI going?
Adara, it is flying to the high side. STI, it is a full state of waboom, breaking through that $0.75 area, Adara. Now it's knocking on the door of $1.80. We didn't do any real charting, to be honest with you, on this name. We don't really know where this one's going to find a top, and we're just kind of trading it based on momentum. So let's go ahead and do that now. So let's flip to the daily. I have a beak wetter up at that $1.80 or thereabouts. Still the high at day is 178. So this is the look on STI. So right away, looking at it, I already know that this was a SPAC. I can tell you right away, because it ranged at $10 for umpteen amount of months, and then it de-SPACed. So that's kind of the tell, guys, right? When you look at a stock on the daily, the weekly, whatever, a longer term time frame, and you see it hugging that $10 for a prolonged period of time, 9 times out of 10, it's likely a SPAC that de-SPACed subsequent to that. So that's what I'm talking about over here on STI. And then we get, this looks like the de-SPAC day over here. I'm just assuming, based on the price action, that December 15th, this monster de-SPACed, because then the price action started going haywire. We were dipping down into 5. We were bouncing up into 10. We're printing right now, Adara. There it goes through 180. Let's sit at 185. See if we can get that print. Yeah, Neil, this thing's pumping, man. To the top side here. STI on its way up, baby. Let's see if we can get 2. Let's not take out too many more here, because this thing's flying to the high side, and we wanna have a couple of beak wetters if this thing keeps going. So let's hang out at 90, see if we can try our luck there at 90s. But to keep going here and talk about where we could encounter that resistance level, well, we have so many incremental down days, essentially from end of January onward. So this was January 30th. That's the 31st, and we keep having big boy down days. And then we break down below $1, and you know how the NASDAQ feels about that. You're gonna get a letter from them, and they're gonna tell you, get your house in order or find yourself a new exchange. And so typically what ends up happening there is either there's some sort of reverse split or some insider buying. Who knows exactly what the remedy for that sub $1 stock is going to be. But anyway, they find themselves at $1.89 right now, which is great. Anyway, so here's what I see. I see $5 as the first real resistance level. You could make the argument for 4 as well, owing to this candle over here, and then we kind of gapped down. So there was a bit of a gap there on that trade from February 2nd into February 5th. There's a bit of a gap down, but I'm going to go ahead and say 5 is probably going to be my line in the sand, owing to this trough that we made over here after the de-SPAC in early Jan. So if we can squeeze here, and you're probably saying to me, Sharif, bro, you're at $2. What is this ambition that you have to get into $5? Well, clearly you haven't seen small cap gappers trade on the day, because lately we've been having several triple digit names. I mean, like 100% plus. And every once in a while, we've seen that quadruple digit come in, Adara, and we're going to wet our beak on more profits here as we come into $2. So STI on its way up 150%.
Congrats to you. That's awesome. And you're getting a lot of support here in the chat as well. Monty G saying that normally they only look at the small cap gappers in the morning, but now they're going to look at some midday moves thanks to seeing you trade these. So lots of support there for
appreciate you, Monty.
Beautifully damp beak there on STI.
Damp beak. I like it.
I like to every candle there's another beak wetter. It's a beautiful look. What's a less beautiful look to have kind of an unfortunate transition is Meta. We got out. It's over. It's okay. You know what? The only thing I can say about this is where's the next trade? Yes. As Obi says, that's what you have to look for. The Novo Nordisk went okay. Did lose on the second trade on that, but I still, we didn't completely negate the gains from the first trade. So I cannot complain about the Novo Nordisk or Novo Nordisk. But also, this NVIDIA getting kind of interesting to me. I don't want to get involved in this until I have a little bit more confirmation, and this would be scalp. I would not be taking my sweet time hanging out in this trade. That being said, I do like that we're kind of coming to this interesting support area. We've had some pops in and out of this earlier today as well, that 866. Now we have that move up, and we also fly up that earlier area of support again, that 870. Now we're kind of coming in here, and this was also an earlier area where we had a little bit of a rejection, that 874. I want to wait and see what we do here, but this could be higher highs, higher lows off that 866 bottom, and if it is, that could be a bit of a scalp long for me. My strategy would, of course, be to kind of take, as I normally do, just take pieces out at previous areas of resistance, save pieces for dreams, although in NVIDIA, much like Tesla, the dreams are often short-lived and full of nightmares and scary things. So we're going to have to wait and see here on that NVIDIA. My area for potentially, should we pause? I kind of have an eye on this for a potential dip buy if we dip into this 872.83, so we're about $1 away. Why that area? Because look at that earlier pop. We had that pop there, then we sold off pretty viciously, so that would be the area, at least on this short-term chart, that I would be looking at for my scalping for this NVIDIA, should we pop into that area. What else am I looking at here? I need to update my side charts. There's not a lot of fun things happening on the side charts right now, I have to say. Meta kind of rejecting, but I'm not getting back involved in that right now. Sharif says pump it, so pump it. Oh my gosh, we're still pumping it.
Adara, it's all gas, no brakes right now on STI, as this thing now is 175% to the good. Could we see 200%? Say again, Adara. Oh, Ram, I totally forgot about that, and I saw your comment in the chat. I didn't get it. Thank you for pointing that out. I'm a little slow today, as everybody knows. I told Ram to whisper to STI to kind of get it going. She did the good work. And now look what's going on with STI here. We're now knocking the door of that 2 1/4 Adara. We're already on our way to 2 1/5. We wet our beak at 210. Here comes 2 1/4. It looks like it's going to go 200% on the day. We're now knocking the door of the 2 1/4. I'm seeing 3s, 223 show up on the book. Can we get that move? I'm not taking any more out. I only have 1 out left. So let's just let this one ride. Wherever it goes, we're going to let it go. We're already profitable on it. Let's see if we can get more, baby. 225 incoming seller, bigger seller. Finally, seeing some size here show up on the book, and it's showing up at the $0.25. You know, just a hunch that we would have had a bit of an issue with the $0.25. Typically, it's the $0.25, the $half, the 3/4, the whole, etc. With these small cap gappers that you're going to encounter that level of resistance. Here comes a big boy topping tail candle, and we could be headed down into 2. Now let's watch how we defend 2, or do we defend 2? So typically what I want to see here is when you clear the whole dollar as a level of resistance, you want to come down to it. You want to see that defend. At least I do. In terms of, making the case that this one still has more upside potential. You don't want to see that big boy Huadun come down, through the whole dollar, and then see that monster topping tail candle with the body closing near the bottom. Here we go with 2 1/4 again. So the sellers get overwhelmed, at least for the moment, by the buyers. Here comes 2 1/4. So again, we top out there. Here it is. Now, could we break through the size? We're eating through that size. There goes 2 1/4, Neil, and 2 1/3 just flew up. This one's going to go 200%. Pamp it.
I like the parting remarks, just pamp it. Also, Ramin trying to start a side hustle in the chat here. She comment your stock. I charge what ice cream, stock whispered. She is very good at what she does, though. I remember I was in a Tesla short and I was like, where's Tesla going? And Ramin's like, well, Tesla can't be mean to you.
Why not?
And then Tesla did immediately drop.
Oh, wow.
So I do think that Ramin has some kind of special stock whispering powers. I can't confirm or deny, but I can only say what the evidence tells me. And weirdly, the balance of the evidence is maybe that Ramin can whisper to stocks.
I love it.
So yeah, shout out to our lovely production team, Ramin and Fabian, and also apparently we discovered that Ramin has ESP when it comes to the market.
Clearly.
I don't know. But also, I'm in this Tesla long, and I'm really happy with this. I'm really proud of myself for even taking this because this is not the type of trade I normally take. We have a really small position. We have room for exactly 0 beak wetters. We will be getting out. I decided around that 178.60 area because that was the area we had a little bit of chop and churn, and overstaying my welcome in the Cybertruck is not something that I ever want to do. I got involved here, though, because I liked that we had moved from resistance in the EMA to a bit of support on the EMA. I also liked that candle to the downside showing that, hey, maybe the sellers are running out of gas, or I guess running out of charge because it's an EV. They're running out of steam. So I wanted to get involved in this long. It looks like I might have set my point of exit a little bit too late. We might be moving back this, but honestly, as long as we kind of stay above this area and we don't dip below into that 177.50s, I'll be pleased as punch. And even if we do dip, I might add to this position because I took a really small piece just at first because I wasn't sure how we were going to move. I did not really get involved in this at the back end. I was a little bit hasty about my entry, which is, although that candle did give me a bit of confidence, which is why I got in, but that's also why I took a smaller position, right? So I'm going to wait and see what happens here. Pretty proud of this trade, pretty pleased as punch. I do have to say, we're going to have to see how this goes. Down on the day by a pretty large margin due to that meta situation, but that, you know what that means? The only way to go is up. So let's see if we go to 0 to 100 in this roadster. Pardon?
What an attitude.
Thank you.
That's
you kind of have to. Trading does like to take a little piece of your soul. So what you have to say is, you know what, trading, that's my soul, and I will stay positive. So that's my look here on Tesla. We're falling back down here a little bit, but you know what, I'm going to take that maybe as a dip by opportunity. That's all I have really on the pipeline for right now. Google. Still getting kind of spicy, a little bit rangy here. I wonder what we're going to do here. Could we fall? Could we continue to chop and churn? There's a bit of a range developing here at this top. I might not say no, but I want to get a better sense of direction. Mainly, though, I have to keep all my energy on the Cybertruck because Tesla does really like you to keep eyes on her at all times. AMD,
can I just comment on something? Big Kyle Burdett wants to know what all these colors are on my tape.
Oh.
Remember how I told you one of the previous hosts helped me set this up?
Yes.
So, do you have that? You do have it. Do you have blue and orange coming in on yours?
Yeah, I do.
No, the tape, not the book.
Oh, no, I have green, yellow, and red.
So you don't, I got to set that up for you, Adara. Okay, here's what I mean by that. So, here are the colors, guys. So, blue means it's coming in below the bid. So aggressive are the sellers to get out of this that they're willing to sell below what the highest offer or the highest bid is, okay? So anytime you see blue, it usually means down. Red, obviously, is selling on the bid. Green is buying on the ask, but orange is buying above the ask. So that shows a fair degree of exuberance amongst buyers. Yellow is midpoint. It typically is in between the buy and the ask. So the reason I color code that is when there's a sea of blue coming in or a sea of orange coming in, I want to be able to kind of represent the bullishness or bearishness on that instrument at that particular time in color. So I don't have to sit there and read every single entry and what the price is. So I know if there's a wave of blue, Kyle, coming in, I know that there's a whole bunch of sellers, people really exuberant about selling. They want to get the hell out of this name, okay? When I see a lot of orange and a lot of green coming in, I know that the buyers are really packing in. And there, look at all the orange coming in on there as we just popped up. It was quite fleeting, but I hope you guys can rewind and see the point I'm trying to make. So that's what the color is. That's why I have 5 colors on my tape. I want to be able to see above the ask or below the bid to show me the kind of sentiment that exists in the market at any one time. Yeah, that is an awesome advantage, Kyle. And let me tell you something else. I can't do that in my other platform. That is a P Pro 8 specific option that I personally haven't seen repeated on any other. I'm not saying it's not available everywhere else. There it is, baby. Real trading, the real deal. And right over there to the left, where's the beach? Over there to the left, that was super lame, but to the left over there is the actual back end team that does all the software updates, all the programming, and anytime the Neil, the Sean, they want an option, they want a new feature, they just submit a ticket, right? And then they can actually have real life discussions with people over there. So shout out to the Real Trading team back there, killing it. And we always see them on the other side, right? When we go get coffee at that umpteen amount of dollar machine back there, they're always back there. So we can always chat and, you know, give our 2 cents.
Yeah, they're really chill, yeah. Good time.
Shout out to Adam. The guy who taught you was a great guy. I remember watching the show when he was teaching you the wisdom you have today. Bang on, Adam. Shout out to you, my man. And that just shows that you're one of the OGs in the chat right there. And you've been watching us for however long. And you probably learned a lot more than me in your time there, Adam. So shout out to Big Adam DeLuce, I know. Algo trader extraordinaire. And by the way, perfect timing. We will now officially, guys, have our algo guy. He goes by the name of Chow. He's coming in every Wednesday, and he's going to be giving us algo lessons. Yes, for all my algo traders out there, and all the people who say that algo trading is the future, machine learning, this, that, and the other, we will have our guy from the algo room come every Wednesday, and he's going to be dropping hotlines. This Wednesday is the first Wednesday, so make sure to check that out on how to trade. We have Chow, the algo guy. That's a fantastic name. Yeah. Chow, the algo guy, he's going to be on the show, Adara, and he's going to be dropping hotlines.
Yeah, I'm so excited. I know I saw you guys talking earlier, so I think on the couch. So that's we have a couch
conspiring to conspire.
Oh, so you were planning the planning.
Yeah.
There we go. I like that. I like that. But yeah, so I'm very excited to have him on here and how to trade, because that's an aspect of trading that I think will be really nice too, to have weekly regular updates. So yeah, very exciting times.
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, we're like the same person. It's like a cool mind meld. I liked what that was doing for a second there. I added into Tesla, and then Tesla decided to scare me just a skosh. We're still above, like I said, it was going to give it about 50 pennies, so we're still above that 177 area. Maybe I should have been a bit scalpier about this. We never got to my area of exit, though. We never got to that 178.6s that I was really looking for. So I did stay in. As long as we hold up above this level, I have no reason to leave. So there we go. I'm still going to get part of this out if we get back to that 178.50s. I would like to continue to see us hold this level. Cybertruck, we're going to have to see how it does. But I think this is a pretty nice look here. Puya asking about any long positions. We're both here in long positions. I'm long Tesla, 178s now, and Sharif is long STI, which is a small cap gapper, giving him lots of spoils there. So yeah, so I think that, yeah, really excited to see the algo, talk about the algo trading. NVIDIA getting kind of interesting here too, just kind of seeing these top and turns. This would have to be very much, though, more of a book watching one than a chart watching one, so that might be a little bit dicey. I don't know if this is my type of trade, but I think there are some range opportunities coming to some kind of fruition that I will be keeping an eye on. AMD also getting a skosh rangy here around this VWAP area. I did have that unfortunate long earlier, but like I said, the only way to go is up, and the only way to go right now is to Neil's lesson of the day. Sorry, I got very excited there, but here he is.
Welcome to your lesson of the day. Today, how can you save money on every single trade you make, or at least close enough to it? I think is a very simple and simplistic task, or I think effort that all traders should make, which can improve your P&L on a very, very incremental basis. And where that comes into play is the notion of slippage. So we talk about this all the time. And what slippage is, we have to define it first, is the difference between the price area that you want to get into a stock, so it could be a trigger, let's say you want to buy it when it gets above $10, and then the price that you actually get filled, regardless of how you put your order in. So maybe you put a market order in and you get 05 instead of 01s. Or maybe you hop on the bid passively, instead of getting 1, by the time you get a bid, you get it at 03. So that incremental cost on the way in and on the way out is something all active traders have to deal with. Now, you usually don't think that a penny here or there in terms of shares is going to make a difference, but over time, if you think about it on every single execution, this is going to add up. So first things first, have to make a distinction. There is a big difference between getting into position and getting out of position. Now, when you are going into a long trade, let's just say you want to break out, one of the most simplistic ideas out there, you want to break out trade, you want to stock above a certain price, you're going to go long once it breaks. So let's use an example, because I always like to have examples of things that happen to me on the day and trades, maybe trades that I missed, right? So 875, opening range resistance on NVIDIA. It broke the 875. I wanted an 875 long. Now, I was willing to get a little bit of slippage, and I crossed up with a limit order. I use limit orders to get into position. Do not use market orders, meaning there's always a price that I'm not willing to pay. So if I, on a break of 75, am willing to pay up to, let's say, 25 cents, I'll put a stop limit order on that break of 875.21 or 22 or 25 or 27. And that way, if I'm long on the break, I get one of those prices and no worse. That's the amount of slippage that I am willing to take. If you don't get filled on the way in, you just end up not getting the position. Now, obviously, if I was short underneath 875 and don't get filled on that break, that means I'm still short, and I want to be more aggressive on an out. Now, I still don't use market orders, but we use very aggressive marketable limit orders to get out. I'm probably going to cross it a couple of dollars. It'll get the best fill regardless, so you want to make sure that you're a little bit more aggressive, or a lot more aggressive in getting out of position to make sure. That said, on that long, you want to try to find that sweet spot between not missing the trade and actually getting the best fill possible. And one of the important things to remember, this is a moving target. Stocks do not stay static. Just because 5 months ago on NVIDIA, you routinely are going to get things like 15, 20, 30 cents of slippage. Back when this stock was $400, $500, when it starts to go parabolic, it opens up a little bit. And the more volatile it is, the more aggressive you need to be with your order. Now, that's obviously to a point. You want to have a good understanding of what the regular spread will be. This is a crazy nonsense, but focus on the best bid and the best ask. And in the middle of the day, it's a 50-cent spread. What the spread can tell you oftentimes when a stock is active at prices like this is how aggressive you need to be. So in this particular case, instead of crossing the routine 20 or 25 cents, you might want to cross that 50 cents. Now, why not $1? Here's why. Because if you end up getting a fill which is too far away from the entry price that you want, it skews your risk to reward. If you're going long at 875 on a breakout, giving it, say, back into this previous level, say that's 74 or 71, if you're willing to risk $4 and you're giving it a wide stop to hold all day long, an extra dollar slippage is $5. And you're getting at a price which is closer to a potential target. So you have less room to the target up and more of a range down. So you have to be very careful considering how far you are willing to cross into that execution. The other thing that you should keep in mind is just getting simple entries throughout the day on what might be dip buys, what might be trend trades, whatever it is. It's not always breakout trades where you get slipped or where you get bad prices. You've got to consider it on other stocks as well. Like, let's imagine I'm trading something like a Boeing here, and it does a wick over VWAP, and I'm looking to short this once it does a fail break at 192.5. But like everything else, you've got to consider, what is the spread going to look like in that situation? This stock has nearly a 10-cent spread. If you have the ability, like we do at Real Trading, to use midpoints or to have multiple gateways, sometimes it makes more sense on the way back down to try to cut into that spread halfway and save yourself maybe 10 cents or 5 cents here, because if you hit that bid, you might not get it all. But if you make the spread, you have the opportunity of saving yourself 10, 15 cents on an entry. Over the course of time, if a winning trade on Boeing is, let's say, $1.50 on a move, you're going to save 10% of that potentially on half of your fills. If you're able to do that on a daily basis, that adds up over time. If in a breakout of NVIDIA, every time I take an NVIDIA breakout trade, if I'm getting 31 instead of 50, or if I'm getting 25 instead of 35, those are gonna add up. Like if you're taking a couple of dollars here or there, then saving 5 or 10% per execution, that is huge. If you're making multiple trades a day and then improving by 5 percentage points your profitability, that isn't chump change. So you want to be sure that you're using all the tools to your advantage. Make sure that if you have multiple gateways or multiple stop orders you can use, you're using the one that gets you the best fills and the best liquidity. I can tell you with real trading, I'm constantly checking to see what is giving me the best fills and adjusting to it, because I know that over the course of a month, it's gonna make a difference. And getting those proper executions, a cent here, a cent there, is gonna make all the difference in the world. Now, remember, some traders are going to use limit orders, some are going to use market orders. There is a place for market orders. Do not get me wrong. If you are trading Apple, or you are trading Amazon, or you are trading some of the big cap tech names that with a little bit more stability, market orders are not going to burn you as an active trader. That's just not how it's going to be. So I understand when you pull up a stock like an Apple, which always has a 1 cent spread, sometimes it'll open up for a split second, to 2, and there's always liquidity on there, you're not gonna get as much slippage, you're not gonna get badly burned by a market order. But if you're trading SMCI, a market order might get the worst possible fill. So you have to understand there is a place for market orders. I just think as an active trader, to get into position, I don't ever need to use one, because there's always a price that I'm not willing to pay. So you got to be very, very careful which one you're choosing. And if you're choosing limit orders, they require more work. I get it. Market orders are going to get you the fill every single time, and you don't have to care about the pricing. But if you can practice using limit orders and get more efficient with your pricing, you're going to save on every single trade. And it does add up. It's a little bit more work and a little bit more consideration as to what price you're going to put in when a key level breaks or in front of a key level. But if you're willing to do it, you can definitely pay some dividends on the back end. Every dollar saved is a dollar earned, and if you're an active trader, then you want to be sure that you're taking advantage of it. You know you're already paying every single time you get in. You pay the spread, you pay a small fee, whatever it might be, but if you can save a little bit, you might as well go ahead and do that. Now be careful being too discretionary with your exits. When you're getting stopped out, you want an aggressive order to make sure you get the fill. But the worst case scenario when you miss a trigger in is that you just don't get into position. Sometimes you can live with that because there's always a price you're not willing to pay to get into a trade. That's your lesson of the day and the real deal. You can do it every single day and improve the efficiency of your trading so you can make a little bit more money.
Lesson of the day with Neil. Thank you very much, Neil. Informative and eloquent, as always, dropping hotlines there on the midday, baby. Shout out to the Neil. While Neil was dropping hotlines, we did take the last little bit that we had in STI out there because it did come and break through that $2, and I wanted it to see hold $2, but it doesn't really care what I want to see or what I want happen because right back above $2 it went. In fact, it knocked on the door yet again of that 230, 2 1/3 or thereabouts, and it's there right now again, and I don't see too much size here reflected on the book, so I gotta make this kind of call now. I think we touched 250, if not $3. This thing is going to break through that 230 top, if not now, maybe in a little bit. But yeah, a lot of action on this name. STI has done almost 45 million shares in the last 5 minutes. Yeah, Dara, it's done 3.5 million shares just in that 5-minute window. And when you look at this at the 5-minute chart, it looks awfully bullish. And here we go. We're going to break the top again. The top right now is 234. Just touched another 234. Let's see if we can get 35s. And there it goes, baby. Here comes the $0.50. Over 200% now, Adara, as this thing just won't give up on the day. I don't even know what the catalyst is on this. And I don't even see a catalyst. That's funny enough.
I think it had one.
Do you have a catalyst on this?
I did not.
I don't have one either from today's the 11th, right? So there were a couple of entries yesterday, which mean nothing because they're on the weekend. I have a couple of entries on the 7th as well. Nothing really. It's all technical indicators. They're nothing news related. Here we go. Is this it from the 6th? So this company is called Soldion Technology. Lithium sulfur batteries on a launch pad to accelerate the takeoff of eVTOL aircraft. Wow. Okay, and forget about the headline. There comes 2.5, and there goes 2.5, Federa. This thing is on the way to 2 2/3. Probably. Look, we looked at the daily. We looked at the daily, and the key area of resistance was either 4 or 5. So we could easily see 4 or 5, and we're about to see 3. We're about to see 3, Neil. Believe it or not, we just broke through 2 1/3, now 269. The HOD on this name, STI, doesn't care about the NASDAQ. It doesn't care about the ES. It doesn't even care about NVIDIA.
Does it care about your feelings?
It doesn't give a you-know-what about my feelings, Katina, man. It's on its way up to the 269 again, and it may break 3. I think we see either 3 or 4 on this name today. We may be up 500%. Let's let this one unfold and see what we get, baby. Pump and dump, Legend League. You never know who's doing this. Absolutely. Just take your dubs as you can get them and get out of Dodge, right? This isn't a hold overnight type stock, my man. This isn't a hold for a week type stock. And if it is, well then, to me, it's the exception, not the rule, that these are hold overnight names, right? They show up on your gap scanner that day. They're up triple digits. You want to hold them overnight, do your thing. It's not my move, though.
Yeah, that's fair. That's a good point. Yeah, congrats on that trade. Lots of support as well in the chat for that trade. I know you were talking about that $5 area earlier. That very much makes sense. Like, that's crazy. Congrats to you. That's a fabulous look there on that STI move. I want to talk about Tesla because I have to say I'm pretty pleased with Punch with his range trade. What I've been doing is I've been waiting here at the 178. We pop up into that 178.50s. I take some. We pop back down. Get another beak wetter, pop out some more, right? So basically that's what I'm trying to do here. I'm trying to range this. What I am, though, hoping for is that we continue to make higher highs because I still have some of this position in, right? What I'm really trying to do is, and Sharif and I talk about this a lot on the show, is trying to work on adding to the position and building a position, right? So that's what I was trying to do here. Reloading here at the every time we get to the bottom of that 178 area, we scoop up some more shares. Then we deposit some of the shares, then we scoop up some more. It's kind of like, when you're doing like the beat test in high school when you're running from like the one area to the next. That's kind of what I'm trying to do with these Tesla shares.
Okay.
Like push the one button, then run back down, right? So weird analogy, but Tesla's a weird stock. So, and I joke, it does weird things, right? But I like that we're kind of consolidating here. I do still have 2 beak wetters left. So if we continue to move up here, that's not going to be a problem for me. I will be depositing some of these oats here around this 179 area, then saving a piece for the dream around 179.50. So that's going to be the look here for that Tesla look. Also, Daryl Flinch, thank you for putting this out here. Keep that 182, 183 range fade on Tesla in mind. Seems like it fades there. Thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, I think honestly, and I totally see what you mean here too. That 183, 182 area was, whew. We went up and then we went down. Yeah, like I said to you, because of the way I trade, we'll be getting out of all of this by 180. But I do appreciate, that's a really good point as well there. And I actually think I'm going to have to cancel my buy order here because it looks like we are going to continue to move to the upside. So we're going to set that next beak wetter here just shy of 179s. Say it with me, please, just punch. You have to say I'm happy with this. Really just trying to take advantage of movement that I'm seeing. I also heard you and Sean talking about AMD, which is a name that's been on my side chart all day. And I do like that we have this movement here around VWAP. I don't like that we made the slightly lower high, but I think, honestly, there is something to be had here. There's some fun to be had.
Well, that's what I was telling the Katina man.
Yeah.
I was saying to him a little bit above 200, a little bit below. I thought that might be your jam.
Thank you. I appreciate it. I think that is my jam. I want to wait and see what we do here above that 200, but I do think you can go in either direction on this because we have that really solid base here of around 199.50 and that pop up into $200.80 for my throat's a little bit dry. I did try round 2 of the spicy chicken, and it's not getting us as much as it did the first time, but it's still a little bit there, so. There we go, water. Thank you very much, Daryl Flinch. Much appreciated. Yeah, I'm trying to make these Tesla moves. We'll have to see how that goes. We did get our second beak wetter, so very happy there. What else is happening? Novo Nordisk popped right back up here. As you can tell, I was very involved in this name earlier. Yeah, we're curling back up. Not anything that I have my eye on right now. What we do around that 130, 170 could be interesting because that was clearly the top of the range earlier. Tried to get involved in that move, so we're going to have to see what kind of hustle we get on this NVO. And as I speak, AMD pops right back into the top of the range, so that's something I'm going to have to take advantage of as my ride in the Cybertruck continues, hopefully to the upside. How are you doing? I know
Eddie R wants to know what you're having for lunch. He says no spicy chicken, I imagine. Show them.
We tried. We tried, this is the chicken.
Look how good that looks.
It does look really good, and it tastes really good.
Is it spicy though?
It's not as spicy as the last one, but it is not spicy for me. So we're kind of in between.
I've offered Adara at times to taste the food, but you know, I've got the equipment in right now at the moment. I got the Invisaligns, and that's a whole lot of work, right? Taking it out and putting it back in. So sometimes, you know, we offer Adara.
It's very considerate of him. I remember one time too, we had, but also because our spice tolerance is different, that doesn't always work.
Yeah.
There was a
but
time
I
you
can
went the
tell
jalapeno.
when something's spicy. As soon as I tell there is a little bit of spice, I know you're not gonna like it.
That's true. Yeah, because he's like, I remember there was one time with the sausages that he tried, and he's like, Adara, don't try that. That was a really good call.
Yeah.
So there we go.
You said they were super spicy. Adara, we printed yet another high of day on STI. 69s are gone, baby. That's it. It's all over with 69s now. We're at 72s. What are we at here? 71s or 72s? 72s, baby. STI on its way up, but we got a lesson to do here. So let's get to work. We're talking about volatility all week. We're going to talk a little bit about how to identify volatile markets or volatile instruments, and then from tomorrow till Friday, we'll be talking about different techniques and risk management strategies for volatile markets. And I got to tell you, I feel like, for the exception of a couple of months here and there, we've been in a permanent state of volatility since 2020. I don't know. I mean, I don't have too much experience prior to 2020 because I never traded. But from what I've heard, you could go years without really moving too much. So count our blessings, I guess, right? Especially if you're day trading. So the thrill of day trading obviously can be amplified during these volatile markets, but believe it or not, so can the risk. We all know that. So knowing how to identify these periods is absolutely crucial for any day trader. Here are some key ways that we're going to talk about how to spot volatile markets. So keep your eye on the news and on the events. These are catalyst-driven markets mostly, so we're looking for significant economic news releases, for example, interest rate changes, employment numbers like non-farm payrolls, jolts, etc. These can all trigger volatility as investors react and reposition their stocks or their holdings, okay? Similarly, major company earnings reports or geopolitical events can create market swings. So you got to keep a calendar of upcoming events and monitor news feeds to stay ahead of potential volatility. I gave this example first time around. NVIDIA has a conference next week from Monday to Thursday. That went in the calendar. CPI tomorrow. That went in the calendar. We know when non-farm payrolls comes up. When is the next Fed decision meeting? When is Apple reporting? When is NVIDIA reporting? These all got to go in the calendar. You need to know this stuff if you're going to do it day in and day out. But in case you're not up to speed with that kind of stuff, there is a channel for you, and it goes by the name of More Trader TV Live. And once this commercial is done, I'm going to show you why I'm showing you this in a second. It's not just to watch a Katina Man's trades. It's not just to watch Anil's trades, but there is an individual on my left here by the name of Adara who takes the time to do this every morning and puts in the economic calendar so you can know that we're going to have a 3-year note auction at 1 o'clock today. I forgot about that completely. And then if you let this refresh, it's going to show you the earlier events. We have New York Fed expectations at 11. We have the 6-month and the 3-month auction at 11:30. So Adara takes the time to put this economic calendar every day, but you should likely be doing that yourself. In case you're wondering what app I use, there's a lot. I'm going to go ahead and suggest you use investing.com, and that has a really good economic calendar in there. It's free to use. You don't have to ante up anything for it. And it shows you the Fed speakers, everything, et cetera. And you can look multiple days or even weeks into the future. So news and events, one of the ways we spot volatile markets. The other way, we look at price action. So looking for erratic price movements. Are stocks experiencing sudden jumps or sudden dips that wouldn't be typical during normal trading for that particular name? Like we saw, for example, last week, the volatility on NVIDIA selling off aggressively on Friday. I mean, we need to be aware of these type of events because there's second day plays to them, for example. Okay, and by keeping an eye on price action also might indicate there is increased buying or selling pressure, which is a sign of volatility, obviously. Technical indicators that you can use to help spot volatility. The one that comes first to mind, average true range, or known as ATR. This measures the average price fluctuation over a set period. Typically, that set period, the default is for 14 days. So a rising ATR suggests increasing volatility, while a lower one suggests decreasing volatility. Okay, so get familiar with how to use ATR. We've talked about ATR in the past before on one of the lessons. Also, the other one, Bollinger Bands. So typically people use Bollinger Bands for support and resistance, right? It comes into the upper band, you're anticipating resistance. It comes into the lower band, you're anticipating support. That's not the only use though, because Bollinger Bands, they widen and they contract. So when they're super spaced apart, when the top line is far away from the bottom line, we can kind of gauge that there is increased volatility during that time. However, when they narrow down, we know that the volatility is tightened up. So you can either look at that on the market, you can look at that on a specific instrument, but Bollinger Bands can be used either independently or in conjunction with the average true range. So look at another way of using Bollinger Bands there, not just for support and resistance. And then the VIX. How can we forget the VIX? The Volatility Index, right? This was created by the Chicago Board of Options Exchange, the CBOE, as a numeric measure of market volatility. It gauges future bets investors are making on the direction of individual assets or on the wider market in general. And typically here, a high VIX reading implies a riskier market. Not so cut and dry, but we're just kind of giving you the basics a little bit here. And then there's trading volume. How important is volume? We've been talking about volume forever. So market volatility often coincides with higher trading volume. So if you're looking at the future and you have an outsized volume candle, well, you had more volatility on that day, and then it helps you anticipate more volatility on the subsequent days. It's something to be aware of. It's not a hard and fast rule, but it's something to alert you. And also a sudden surge of volume compared to the usual activity on a stock or an asset in general, an asset class, like for example, a sector, can be a sign of volatility on the horizon. I've always given this example in the past. If CPI comes in light tomorrow, well then the implication from that will be that the Fed may start cutting sooner rather than later. I'm just giving you if-then statements, okay? So if that's the case, if CPI comes in late, then we can make the assumption and calculated assumption that the Fed may be more aggressive in rate cutting or may cut sooner. If that is the case, keep your eye on solar stocks. I've been making this case for a few weeks now. These are very interest rate sensitive class of stocks. And so if we're going to start talking about cuts or cuts sooner than anticipated or more than anticipated, typically what we see in that case is solar stocks rise. So you need to be aware of that as well. Okay, market sentiment, super important as well. What are the news articles saying? What is social media yapping about? What are the analyst opinions on that name? We always joke around and talk about Dan Ives and his obsession with the tech stocks and how he's becoming like a tech rock star analyst at the moment, right? What is he saying about NVIDIA? What is he saying about Apple? And be aware of widespread bullishness or bearishness, as strong emotions can often fuel volatility. I would say be aware of that with Bitcoin right now. Guys, I'm listening to the personal trainers at my gym checking Bitcoin 5-6 times a day. Like when we get to that level, when retail is like really all in on something, we need, seasoned traders kind of know that's usually either a local top or a good area for a pullback, whatever. We'll see. But there's a lot of retail interest right now. And Neil gives the example about his barber. Brendo gave me an example with somebody else in his life asking him about it. And that typically is, a bit of an indicator there. And you may want, I'm not making any suggestions, you may want to start looking at a contrarian opinion if that is the case. All right, quickly here before we send it back to Adara. This thing has no brakes, bro. We are on the way up. Another bull flag putting here for STI. And here comes that 270 top that we've been rejecting off for, let's just say, another like 15 minutes prior to this. I think we see 3. And if we see 3, we easily could see 4 or 5. That is the level that we earmarked on the daily as a specific area of resistance for STI, up 241%.
Wow. That's all I have to say about that name. That's a crazy move. Bless you.
Bless you, Ram.
But yeah, this is a crazy move there on that STI. Yeah, there are a lot of small cappers sometimes that will give you more movements than some of these mega caps. I am in 2 trades right now. I'm in this AMD short, which is, to call it indecisive would be being very kind to AMD. We've had a range all day, and now AMD's like, maybe I want to wander. Like, no, you don't. No, I'm joking. It can do what it wants. But basically, I got involved here, got involved at the top of this range. Then we kind of popped back into that 201.30s. I was watching this 201.50 area because that was that area we had a huge amount of resistance earlier, and then we fell with the swiftness from that area. We couldn't claim that area, so I'm comfortable staying in this short for the time being. Tesla, meanwhile, we got 2 beak wetters. Then I kind of decided, maybe I don't want to keep moving for Adara. That's cool. I'm going to give it a little bit here, but if not, I'm going to get out of that 178.50 area because that was honestly a bit of a top of the range earlier. So I think this is where I'm going to have to pump the brakes here, or hit the brakes, I guess. We're not pumping the brakes.
Oh, guys, no brakes.
On TSLA. So we'll see if we get that fill. If we do, I'd be pleased as punch. It wasn't as high as I wanted it to go, but that's okay. Sometimes you have to adapt the plan. And when I say a lot about scalpulation, which is, jokingly what I call my scalping strategy, it's having a plan and then adapting that plan using what I'm seeing in the book of the chart as things move. So the plan adapted. That's okay. We got a little bit thrown out of the Cybertruck, but we still have everything intact. So I'm pretty proud of this trade, really, just adding these pieces and taking them out as we go, trying to become more comfortable with range trading. This AMD thing is a little bit more stressful because it basically decided that now it wants the top of this previous wider range to become the bottom of this other range it's trying to make. So I'm going to keep an eye on this. I'm not leaving until I see a break above that 201.50. We're going to take some profit out here around this 220s area where we had a little bit of chop and churn. I'm going to save a piece of the dream below 200s, which is quite a dream. But you know what? It's AMD. Sometimes it can give you a little more bang for your buck. So I'm going to be keeping an eye on that move here as well. Sean's also short AMD. Where'd you get in the AMD short? Is it guessing? I'll guess. Did you get involved?
I think she likes this game.
Around 201.20s?
Yeah, 201.14.
201.14. You were as close as I was last week. Good job there.
Thank you. But yeah, so the AMD short, Sean definitely has a better cost than me on that, but I think this could be a fun trade. Going to be patient. I will say, knowing that the Katina man himself is in this trade makes me a little bit more emboldened because I do think this range does exist here. I'm not going to be staying as long, mind you. I'm going to be kind of scalping it out of the range, but I'm happy with this position right now. Pleased as punch. Ready to see what shakes out here. And also NVIDIA continuing to kind of chop and churn around VWAP. This could maybe be interesting for me, but I don't want to make any assumptions until NVIDIA gives me a reason to do so. But I see a position has been added.
Yes, long Coinbase. Long Coinbase through the break of 270. We got in at 59s, and we took some out right through the break of 270. Here it goes. Now breaking through the $0.50, 270.50. So Coinbase starting to go here. The high of the day on Coinbase is 10 pennies. Sorry, $1. Get it together, Sharif. $1 from where we are. 271.65. Here comes 271, guys. Coinbase is breaking up. Let's take some out here in front of 271 if we can. I'm seeing 90 prints. Now I'm seeing the even dollar. There goes the even dollar on COIN. Almost 6% to the good today. I mean, we could easily see 6%. I think if we continue to pump here. Look, it's been it's been a tale of two worlds in crypto world today. You've had the actual coins themselves do really well, and then some coin adjacent products. I'm talking about the micro strategies. I'm talking about the Coinbases also do really well. And then you've had the mining names, which have been absolutely getting shellacked as of late. You've got the Maras, you've got the Riots, you've got the Clean Sparks, and even the Hut 8s. They're all absolutely taking it on the knocker today. Mara down 5 2/3. Riot down 2. Clean Spark down almost 8, man. This thing is like 7.89%. You've got Hut 8, 8.5%. It's been a shellacking for these mining names, baby. And shout out to me for getting into Mara, but it's all good there. We won't talk about that. But anyway, so Mara absolutely getting shellacked on the day, but Coinbase doing well. Let's see if we can get that pump through 271. I want to show exactly why this 271 seems to be an important level at the moment. And I'm going to make this case over here that we could have a possible double top coming in on MAR. Not Mara, on Coin. Get it together, Sharif. This is the 271 level that I'm looking at here. So look, we're putting in higher lows. So I'm more inclined to say, look, Sharif, you got an ascending wedge with a flat top at 271, and you have consecutively higher lows. The flat top is essentially a flip of previous support now into resistance. I'm talking about the morning. In the pre-market there, 271 was a support level that we kept bouncing off of. It stands to reason if it was previously support, now it could act as resistance. We're going to pack our patience because it's not going to be resistance forever, you don't feel. So if we break through that 271 like we did on the IB high there at 930 and we got into 271.65, then fantastic. Otherwise, if we come down and we start making lower highs and lower lows, we're going to want to take the majority of the position out on Coinbase as it's now coming into 270. So that big retracement there coming in, and we could easily see the giving up ghost at 270. So 271 acting as that local resistance level. We'll see what we get there. What's going on, Katina Man? The Katina Man says AMD is going to break 201.50, baby. You got Adara short AMD. You got the Katina Man short AMD. What's your look on AMD at the moment, Adara?
Yeah, I'm leaving AMD at 201.50, so we're going to have to get out of Dodge here, hopping out of this. Oh my gosh, AMD. Yeah, AM, darn. Yeah, AM, this is AM destroyed. I don't even know what to say here. I can't. It's moving too quickly for me to even have an accurate pun here. We got out. We might have gotten out top wick because it looks like it's subsiding a little bit, but I had to leave this trade. We broke above 201.50 with a viciousness, with a swiftness. We were kind of trucking along until we got there, and then we did to the upside. As I was saying to Sean in the chat as well, I was talking to Sean in the chat about this, and basically my issue was I definitely got involved too early at that 201.77. I should have really waited for that 201.20 area, but I thought this was going to be a bit more of a range. AMD decided to switch the game up. That's cool. You know what I mean? That happens. The stocks don't care about your feelings, so you just have to adapt. That's okay. Where's the next trade? Tesla's still moving up. I don't regret getting out where I did on this just because we were kind of making a bit of a move below and I wanted to preserve some of that profit. This Tesla now, though, going from a range trade to maybe a nice long off the 90 MA. So I'm going to have to keep an eye on this. My areas are still going to be the same, though, that 178.50, 178, 179, 179.50. Not just because they're those whole dollar levels, but also because those are the areas that I've noticed Tesla take little stops on its way to the upside. Or I guess, conversely, earlier on its way to the downside. So that's the look there for me on TSLA. AMD I'm done with for now. We're AM done, not because I lost in that trade, but just because I don't really have a range on that one of which to speak at this moment. You know what is interesting, though, for me, too? I want to look at Alibaba.
Alibaba.
Do. Sounds like a cheer. But yeah, Alibaba, earlier I liked that we kind of had this chop and turnaround view up. Now we're kind of moving more to the downside here, so I don't really have a clear read on this. Shout out to, I think it was Z Trades last week giving me pointing out a range to me on this. So that was a really nice trade last week. Right now I don't have a huge range in this, but it's one I wanted to keep an eye on because I did like that consolidation around view up earlier. Boeing, though, this could get spicy. This could get spicy for me. Normally I don't like spice, but I do if it's on the charts. I like that we have these slightly higher lows here, but we also have lower highs. I think if we reject off this VWAP again, because we did that earlier, this could be an interesting short, but I don't want to make any assumptions. However, one thing I do find interesting as well is look at this earlier area that we had of support, pretty strong support here, 192s, then we resist 192. Now, could we resist 92 again? We'll have to wait and see.
Did you see this?
Oh yeah, we're on mobile now.
Not just mobile, Adele. This is Instagram. We're on Twitter, X. Are we on X? Are we live on X or no? No, so we're live on TikTok. We're live on Instagram. Are we live on Facebook? Just TikTok and Instagram and YouTube Shorts, right? Say it again, Raymond. So TikTok, Instagram, YouTube Shorts, we have the new layout, which is portrait. Right? And so you can kind of see us in a more portrait-friendly way. The Chilean Nightmare absolutely set this up beautifully with the position board below the video. Then you have the tickers above there. Shout out to the best team, baby. And we already have people joining right now as I talk about it. Look at all these people joining that we talked about it. Yeah. Shout out to the production, the undefeated production team that is, for putting us so that everybody can consume our content. I mean, not everybody is on YouTube, and if you're on the gram, you want to consume us on the gram, have at it. I just want to mention that for everybody, guys, because it's good to have options. You don't have to use it, but it's good to know that we have got it. Adira, as you were dropping hot lines, STI decided that it was going to make a breakthrough 3, and oh, did it ever. $3.08 HOD right now on STI, but I got to tell you, it's putting in topping tail candles. And so I'm a little concerned. So if you're holding this for the long, I mean, this candle hasn't closed yet, but if this candle closes, that'll be 2 topping tail candles, a little bit here, and maybe candles of indecision. You heard Michael Noss talk about these doji candles on the morning show today. We'll wait and see if we get a retracement on STI. I'm going to be looking at every consolidation level as well as VWAP as a potential area of bouncing. Here's what I mean by that. So that 260 area, we obviously had a bit of a top there, 260, 275-ish, this general area. We had a top for about 50 minutes before we broke through it. Same thing with this 2 1/4, 2 1/3 general area as well. We topped out right there, retraced back into 2, and then boom went the dynamite. We broke right through there. So I'm going to be looking at all these consolidation area tops as a possible area of support if this thing gives up the ghost at 3. And then I'm going to be looking at VWAP, which right now is about 3 pennies above $2. And I love that. You want that confluence between the indicator and the price action. And as I was just yapping there, we're giving up the ghost at 3. Here comes 269. Looks like we're breaking down a little bit here. Also, one thing I negated to mention, this 10-period EMA, which is the green solid line on my charts. So we've been hugging the 10 EMA essentially all day, or not all day, but essentially from 11:30 onwards. We haven't actually broke down below the 10 EMA. So let's watch what it does at the 10 EMA as well. It's another interesting area of support if we make it down there. So watching what STI does, what kind of opportunities this bad boy provides us. But it's definitely been the best small cap gapper du jour, no question about that. And it's also the most high, up 260 some odd percent from the beginning of, well, from 4 a.m. onwards, right? Because that counts it from 4 a.m. It's up 225% since 9 a.m. AMD
Wow.
continuing to do the dance here. I'm not sure what you did with that AMD position, but it's a little bit above VWAP. It's a little bit below VWAP. I'm going to keep eyes on AMD. I like it because of its proximity to that $100 level. Anything could happen here. We could hwadunk, we could hwaboom. Who knows exactly what happens? Looking back at Coinbase, this stopped me out. I mean, like, this thing's moving dollars at a time. What can I do? Right? It stopped me out. It dipped below 269. I had to flatten out there, but right back up into 271 it goes. It's up 5 1/3, man. Jeez Louise. But that was this VWAP dip trade here was probably the trade of the day on coin, not on for everything else. But this 266 double bottom here at VWAP was probably the most printable level on the day. Well, number one, because you had a line in the sand, 265 and no less, did it break? And you also have the fact that it's at VWAP, and you also have the double bottom, which showing you in a more bullish area. That buyer kept stepping in at that particular area. So great look there on coin on the day. We'll keep watching to see what happens. Let's see what some people are saying here. Diamond Realty saying coin is flushing. It was, my man. That's why I got out, and then right back up it goes. So bamboozlement central. Southeast Dave. STI has a price target of $71. Who? Like, let's find out what the analysts are saying. Analyst ratings. I have no analyst forecast on this, so I'm not sure where you're getting that. Let me know where you're getting that from, because no analysts, according to my platform, are actually covering this stock. Nick Dubb, thoughts on Disney? Absolutely, sir. Let's bring in the side chart and have a look at DIS, see what it's up to on the day. We're going to get rid of Bally because it's a buyout, and that's not important for our purposes. Wow, what a look on Disney. Are you still in Disney? You bought, right? You're still holding?
Yeah, I got some out at 12.
The Katina Man took some out at 12s there. It's above 12, Katina Man. It's at 12, yeah. It's 112 and a third at the moment. Yeah, it's Disney's on the way up, baby. So DIS, let's look at what percentage it's up on the day. It's up 0.72. Great look for Disney though, guys. Holding the 10 EMA like a glove. So my suggestion to you there is look for a key technical area to get a dip trade. It looks like it was at 112 level. because we broke up, did a topping tail candle there at 112.5. There's this topping tail candle, and then you get a big boy red candle, and then you hold the 10 EMA, and you make another 5-minute candle to make a new high above this 5-minute candle here. So it looks like it may be continuing here with its move up. So the 112 dip looked awfully good on that, and it ends up holding that 112 to the T. Did it? Did it actually break 112? No, 112.11, 112.10. No, it held 112. So that whole dollar comes in relevant here. I mean, I don't know where we top out. Let's zoom out a little bit, see where the local top is here on DIS. Okay, so it looks like as if we might have a bit of a resistance level at the area we're trading right now. This takes us back to March 5th. We had 2 lows at this exact area here, 112.30. So 112 and a third. We had a bit of a double bottom. That was the 12:30, 1 o'clock, and then again at what time was that? That's 3 to 3:30. So we get a double bottom here at 112 and a quarter, 112 and a third, back on March 5th, and we haven't been at that level since that day. So we could be expecting some resistance here at this level. We're going to have to pack our patience and see whether Disney can actually reject off that or break through that level. Now, if it doesn't break, the question has to be asked here, is this a good short at that level? Now, yeah, I'm going to answer my own question and say, well, Sharif, that's a counter trend trade. Disney's up on the day, it's up and to the right. You can't be guessing tops. Well, with a tight stop, I can, right? So if I'm going to put it here at 112.35, I could draw my line in the sand at 112.50 and risk 15, 20 pennies on this name. I think that that would be a calculated guess, a calculated gamble. It's called a spade, right? So we're going to see. I'm going to put Disney up on a trading screen here because if it comes into that level and rejects, well, then we may want all the smoke. So I'm going to put that in here, Adara, and I'll send it to you. What are you looking at over there?
Yeah, we're looking at questioning our life choices. No, I honestly, like I said, this has just not been my trading week, month. I don't know. This March is not. It's the Ides of March. I am feeling it. I cannot blame this on the spicy chicken. It's just my brain. We had those nice little Tesla range scalps. I tried to do the same with NVIDIA. NVIDIA fell out from under me. I gave it a couple dollars. NVIDIA was like, cool, I don't care. Continued to fall. I had a really, really small position in this, so it's not anything horrific, but I do have to say it's a little bit disheartening. I'm not going to sit here and lie, mixing some optimism with some realism here. I was just not thinking straight. I did not have my head screwed on. I apparently forgot that NVIDIA will do what it wants to do when it wants to do it, and that's okay. Lesson very much learned. Let's see what's else on the horizon here. Yeah, you were mentioning AMD. I did fumble the ball a little bit with AMD here. Got out of the short, got into a long because I noticed we were holding up okay around that 201. We broke the 201, happy with where I got out here. And then it's like, well, I should have kept the short because we kept falling. But you know what? That's all right. That's all right. We're going to keep looking for new opportunities, maybe outside some of these Mag 7 names. What's interesting too here is there are some conversations. Yeah, Elon saying BA indeed getting spicy. So let's look and see what BA is doing. Oracle also reports earnings tonight. So let's see if we can tell the future there with Oracle. Okay, Boeing is getting spicy. Thank you, Elon, for pointing this one out. This is on my side chart, but I haven't taken looks at this one for a good time, for a good while here. Yeah, this is a nice look. Higher lows, higher highs. I think this is a nice look. We did eclipse that earlier, or because we're kind of coming into the earlier area, 193, and we're very much eclipsing that 192, which, like I said, was a pretty interesting area of support and resistance for myself. But yeah, I think this has been a nice little move up here in BA. I will be watching what we do with that 193.5 because that was the area we had a little bit of a trough. Then 194.5 could get interesting because that was, a little bit of resistance in the pre. Then that area from which we fell right off the open, 195.20. Thank you for pointing this one out to me here. Elon, let's look at Oracle as well ahead of earnings. Let's see if we can see the future with this one. Okay, Oracle is a nice one for sure. Higher lows, higher highs. But we're getting kind of slowing the pace a little bit as we get higher here. I don't want to say flat top break because the top isn't that flat, but I mean, we could argue that this 114.20 area, should we break, could get a little bit interesting. Right now, we are at the high of day for Oracle for 114.27. Let's see what we have in the daily chart here for ORCL. Oh, this is the hour. Okay, let's look at the daily. Nice hourly chart though, upside, upside, upside. Yeah, this is interesting. I know we fell really hard off those last earnings. So that's going to be, there we go, December 12th. This is interesting. We had a pseudo double bottom on the daily chart around that 100 level. Then we've kind of seen upside. Then we run into a double top. I'm actually going to draw this for the sake of making this easier. 117 top, 100 bottom. This is interesting. And then we're seeing these higher lows. So this could get a little bit spicy. I think breaking above that 117, of course, if we have a positive earnings, would be worth watching. If we have a negative earnings or if the market reacts negatively, then the area I might be watching would be that just shy of 109 area. And I say that because that was the area we had a little pop earlier. It was both resistance and support. So resistance, October 9th, support coming into September 12th. That could be an interesting level for me. It's not exact, but that 109 if we fall. And then, of course, if we fall lower, we're going to be eyeing that 102. And then, of course, that double bottom at 100. So that's me taking Oracle heading into earnings. We got a little bit chopped up in that NVIDIA trade, but like I said, the only way to go is up, and we certainly have a long way to crawl ourselves out of, but that's what trading is, right? We want challenges, we do want all the smoke, and I'm excited to kind of see what opportunities this market continues to give me.
So as you see here, Adara, we have what is known as the Premier League table. And this is the standings for all my individuals out there that don't know the colloquial word of the word table. This is essentially a representation of our. We conspire to conspire against you, Neil. This displays Arsenal's superiority over Liverpool. I mean, yeah, sure, we're tied on points. It's 64 to 64. Look at that goal differential, though, baby. And that's the result of. I believe we've won 8 games in a row in 2024, okay? 8 games in a row. Within those 8 games, Neil, we have outscored the competition 37 to 3 or I don't know, something like that. It's been ridiculous. Included in that shellacking was a dub for Arsenal above Liverpool, during which the score was also 3-1. So Liverpool wasn't even spared the onslaught of Arsenal's offense. You know, nobody is safe from the Arsenal. So sorry, Neil. We had to do that. Look, man. Look, he came to me on Friday and he's like, "What position is your team in? You're in third." I'm like, "All right, let's wait till the weekend." And then he was kind enough today. He's like, "Well, I'm surprised you didn't say anything." Like, oh, man, I was waiting for you to say it, right? The first thing I said this morning when I walked in was, "Good morning, Adara. Good morning, Neil." And then he's like, I sat down. He's like, "I'm surprised you didn't say it." I'm like, "Oh, okay. I know exactly what you're talking about."
You were saving it for now.
I was saving it for now. And he's right. There he is. There he is. So shout out to the Neil. He's a sick sport, by the way, but we always go back and forth like this. You guys saw me do the push-up challenge. I had to wear his Buffalo Bills Josh Allen thing. Shout out to Adam. This represents the market structure. It does, Adam. Klopp, what is your opinion on that Doku foul, though? Look, man, that you can't like karate kick somebody in the chest. He clearly kicked McAllister in the chest. That's a penalty for me. And I don't know how VAR was so quick to dismiss that as not a penalty. I think Liverpool got robbed of a penalty yesterday in that game with City. That's just my opinion, okay? AI, we had Man City on the ropes, even with less superior team. Yep, as I told Neil today, you guys are nursing a hell of a lot of injuries. Not the least of which your goalie. There are certain defense people that or defensemen that are not available, as well as your midfield, your offense everywhere. There's trouble everywhere with Liverpool. Nabil Reni. I'm not reading your comment, bro. That's it. Nabil, I'm never reading your comment again. Diamond, Neil Roberts always wins. Yes. Well, come on, bro. Arsenal's winning for now. Give me a little bit of credit here. You are dreaming, brother, concerning Arsenal, Liverpool, baby. All right, Haru. Let's talk again May 15th. We'll see who is going to be on top, because that's when the season ends.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, we go mid-August to mid-May.
That's a very long season.
A long season. Compare that to football season that they play 16 games. Yeah, man, 38 games in the Prem, and they play multiple tournaments. They're playing the FA Cup, they're playing in the Carabao Cup, either the Europa or the Champions League. They got multiple tournaments. These guys are extended.
And they have international week too, where they play for their home team. Like, how are they alive at the end of the season?
No, it's legit. It's legit. And the players complain about it because Champions League is getting expanded next year. It used to be 6 games in the group stage, and now it's going to be way more. So these guys are going to have to play more games. Yeah, it's getting crazy. But for the fans, we love it. The players, not so much.
That's a big commitment there.
What do you got on tap over there?
Yeah, what I have on tap here is trying, I say, I don't like to call it revenge trading, I like to call it avenge trading. We had a bad trade in NVIDIA, so you know what we look at, we say, Dara, how can we do better? This is still rangy. The issue was I was trying to trade this off the 3-minute. I was looking at the 3-minute and I was seeing these shorter term, higher highs, higher lows on a micro scale. Then we get involved and we basically take the whole movement out of the candle and we get a little bit slapped in the face. Now I go a lot. Now I go to the 5-minute and I see, you know what else I'm seeing, Dara, that makes more sense, yes, apparently I'm talking to myself, is look at the bottom of this range here to the top of this range. This is a more realistic range for me on the 5-minute. I very much missed the bottom of this range because I was trying to get in around that 870 area. I still have an order set, should we get involved there. I will be taking it out basically by 874 if it comes to fruition. So that's what I'm trying to say, right? Just basically trying to take a trade that didn't work out and flip it around. I did get involved here. If we get below this, we're going to give this a couple dollars. So we're going to give it to like 868-esque and kind of see what we do. NVIDIA, you need to give a little bit more wiggle room. You need to let it run around a little bit more because, yeah, it's hard to get a win video on NVIDIA because this name's a wild one. I think you know what I'm going to do is I'm going to be trying to scalp pieces of it, kind of like what I did with Tesla, because that's usually where I find I have the most success. Is if I start at a certain point and then I scalp in and out as we go. I think that's what's going to be the most beneficial for me right now. So that's what we're going to do here. We're going to try to be getting some of this out here around 870.90, so basically 871. We're going to get some of it out there. Then if we come back to that area, I'm going to add. So that's going to be my strategy here, keeping my entire energy on NVIDIA as we kind of scalp in and out of this name. Hopefully, we'll see if it works out. Hopefully is not the right word. I'm just saying based on what I'm seeing in this range, I think that's possible. So instead of hopefully, we're going to say possibly, because there's no hopium around these parts except for when I initially traded. There we go. We already have some profit on this one. So please just punch. Just trying to stick to a strategy that makes a little bit more sense for me as I learn and grow as a trader, and hopefully, continue to do so. Also, apparently, there's some mentions of March Madness. Okay, that's interesting in the chat here. Tesla, I'm seeing some mentions of La Cybertruck. Ooh, okay, this is interesting. Tesla's still popping off that 90 MA. It was a short off the 90 MA until it wasn't anymore. Then it became a bit of a long opportunity. We had a really hard time, though, resisting that 179 level because I had that drawn as one of my levels. I initially was saving a piece for the dream for that 179.50, but it looks like this 179 could be a bit of an area of resistance for Tesla. That being said, I think 179 is less likely to be a full-on short, and maybe more we kind of accumulate, and then we pop off that 179 top with a viciousness. Let's see what happens here. Eddie are saying, doesn't NVIDIA get your beats per minute crazy? Oh, yes.
Yes, it does.
Oh, yes. I mean, I'm talking even faster than usual here with this spicy chicken in my system, trying to get this NVIDIA trade going. I have to say, I'm pretty proud. And I think, honestly, I have to say I'm less proud that I'm in the trade, and I'm more proud that I got in after having that L earlier, because I recognized why I lost, and that was not looking at the wider time frame and just giving it way too much room to run. So we're going to have to see how this goes. Hopefully my beats per minute do not get too crazy in this NVIDIA, but I'm pretty happy right now. How are you doing on Google?
I'm in Google. We're going to try our hand here as this dips up a little bit. We're about 5 pennies or 4 pennies out of the money at the moment. Looking for this general area to hold here. It's been higher lows and higher highs, but looks like Google rejecting that $0.75 right now. I'm also quite inclined to get into Disney, man. I'm just not really sure how to figure a way out here. I really thought that we would find resistance at this level owing to that March 5th consolidation bottom. That was that general area of 112.5, 112 and a third. It didn't really give a you know what about that level, and it's on its way now to 2/3, 112 and 2/3, up 2% for DIS. It's been an excellent trade today, but hugging that 10-period EMA on the 5-minute. This is the look here on DIS. You don't have nary is there a close below the 10-period, and this is the only one over here, right? Sorry, this one over here where we actually dipped a little bit below. This one opened below the 10-period, but definitely no closing prints below the 10-period over here. this is why I was thinking the 12 and a third, 12 and a half top, owing to this level over here. This was the 12:30 bottom, 1 o'clock bottom. Again, over here, 3 o'clock, 3:30 bottom, much in the same look at on DIS. I figured, you know, local level of resistance, support becomes resistance. Well, not on this day, at least not for now. Maybe we start getting a downturn, but I'll have to get that once it starts actually breaking that 112 level. I'm not going to guess as to when this one's going to turn back around. But I guess if I wanted to weasel my way into this, I'm going to have to put a dip trade off the 10 EMA, because right now it's really not giving you any major dips. I mean, it gave you that 112 level ever so briefly, but then it popped right back up. So looking at that, looking at Google as well, we'll see if we can, now we're back break even right now on Google. Looking for a possible 139 move on Google. Like, we clearly had a 139 top owing to this 139.10 high of day, but we really haven't put in any significant lower low or any clear price action here that would show, well, we're going to start turning around. I mean, even when you thought 139 was going to reject, we came back down, we started curling right back up on Google. So we'll have to wait and see here. I'm going to probably practice a bit more, a bit of a tight, thank you, Neil, for that, a bit of a tighter stop on Google. But Neil just reminded me, thank you very much for that, through the 3-year bond auction, baby, that we're going to get, I believe, right now. Let me just put Google so that I can manage this quickly here. Let me just load up my investing.com app. I've got a beak wetter, by the way, on Google at 83s. Kind of a random area to take profits, but we're looking to take profits there. All right, so today, how come I'm not seeing any 3-year? Oh, here it is, the 3-year note. So we're waiting. Last time around on the 3-year note, we got 4.169, and we'll see what we get this time. Guys, if you have the result for the auction, tag me again, because the investing.com app takes its sweet time to report. Again, I don't follow the 3-year, so I don't know what the current futures contract is trading at. I don't even know what the index is trading at. All I know is that we typically get a lot of volatility into 1 o'clock, and then we may get spikes up and down. Don't take the first spike up or the first spike down as the direction. It's changed in the past, so we're going to have to wait and see here. I'm going to have to draw my line in the sand at the $0.50 on Google. That gives me about 12 pennies worth of space here, as yeah, I don't think we really responded yet to the bond auction. Anybody in the chat with the number, just throw that in there, tag Adara and I so that we can see it. But right now I don't have anything.
Yeah, no, I think, yeah, the Google trade looks very nice. They're not like searching for levels, just seeing what's here on the chart.
Yeah, let's see. Let's see if we get that move back up. Okay, so the bond auction looks like it came in. Here we go. I mean, we popped back up, but we could pop right back down, and that's the thing. So I don't want you to think that the first pop up is going to be the direction in which we stay. It's happened in the past. We get a wick up, then we get a wick down, and who knows how we're going to resolve. But we didn't get printed yet on Google. I'm sitting here at 83s. We popped up to 80s, rejected off 80s again, Adara. So indecisive right now is, what's up? Your running back is now a Tennessee Titan. Oh, no way. Pollard? No way. Remember, DeMarco Murray went there too. Why do they always leave to go to Tennessee? So apparently, DeMarco Murray, what's his name? Pollard is gone from the Dallas Cowboys. He is no longer a Dallas Cowboy. It looks like he's a Tennessee Titan now. So he's dead to me.
Cool.
No, I'm kidding, of course. Just joking. What do you got?
Yeah, what I have is, I have to say, I'm pretty happy with this NVIDIA trade. I got out the last of my position here. I almost got top wick here, so I was pretty happy. 873s. That was basically the top of this range. We got involved at the bottom here. I was ready to kind of reload as we got to the bottom, but we didn't really get that opportunity. That's okay. If we bounce again off 870, you know I'm going to be back involved in this name. Just taking that 870 to 873 area. I usually, sometimes, if it's a less volatile name, I'll short from the top of the range, and then I'll go long at the bottom. But it's NVIDIA, so I'm only going long at the bottom of this range. Also, because look, we're having slightly higher lows, so I do not, I want all the smoke in NVIDIA, but I don't want the burn. You know what I mean? We want to be careful. We want to have enough SPF here that we can carefully mitigate the risks that come with NVDA. So I have to say, as far as avenge trades go, I'm pretty happy. I do call it an avenge trade because I tried to use stronger technicals than I did in the initial trade. NVIDIA is getting spreadier though. Like, we've got like a 30 to 50 penny spread, which for NVIDIA isn't unheard of, but it's also not like how it always is. You know what I mean? So interesting move here. NVIDIA getting nice and choppy and volatile. I also want to take a quick look at SoFi for some people, because I see a lot of mentions of SoFi in the chat. I know stop console wars. Sorry about that. I think you mentioned this one earlier and I wasn't able to get to it. But I think this is a nice look. Higher lows pretty much throughout the day here after we made that massive move to the downside. We're still up about 0.5% in the day, so nice look here for SoFi. I saw we had a price target decrease on SoFi. I think we dropped about 50 pennies here in the price target. Yes, so Piper Sandler reiterating neutral, taking the price target from $8.50 to $8. So big move there for SoFi, but SoFi pretty much up on this other than that massive move down here as a whole, crawling back up here, dancing off that 9 EMA. I think it's a nice look. I think, if we can kind of break above that VWAP area of that 780, that'd be maybe a better look, but I know SoFi people have been all over this one today. We did just have this chart fall up, so that's okay. We're gonna pull this one up. We're gonna take this quick look also at Affirm here before we get into, because it's another payment-related name I saw some people mentioning here in the chat. And then we will move on to our lesson. Speaking of volatility. Oh, we got the Scarjo Rabbit, thank you so much here. US 3-note, high yield, actual. 4.256%, the forecast, they don't have, but the previous was 4.169. So we got a higher than the previous there for that 3-note. So thank you so much. That's the result of the auction. Thank you very much to Scarjo Rabbit. Affirm's actually really interesting. Lower highs, higher lows. This could get a little bit consolidation wedge-ish for me. I don't know, because we're kind of like just slightly down in the day. Usually these wedges tend to break in whatever direction we're already trading, so to the downside. But we're above VWAP, so Affirm could get spicy. I might actually have to add Affirm to my side chart and kick off another name, because AMD, I'm like, I don't even want to look at her right now. Might put Affirm there in her place, because I think there's certainly some range opportunities here. I'm going to take some more time to stare at it, but I think that could be a nice potential range trade for me. But for now, the thing we'll be focusing on is our lesson du jour. One more time here. One more time. Identifying volatility or identifying volatile markets. Bless you. Bless you. So let's, one of the thrills of day trading, if you're kind of momentum trader, I guess, well, also trading in general though, is you can experience extra thrills in day trading during these volatile markets, but there's also extra risk in these times. So you have to learn how to identify these periods. It's going to be a crucial part of any day trader. And here are some key ways to spot volatile markets. There you go. News and events. So significant economic news releases like interest rate changes or employment numbers can trigger volatility because you've got investors reacting and repositioning. As Sharif mentioned, we have CPI coming tomorrow, PPI on Thursday, so we might actually have some volatility in the wild that we'll be able to talk about coming tomorrow. So definitely keep an eye on those calendars. Also, company events are going to be really worth noting as well. Sharif mentioned that NVIDIA event coming next week. That'll be really important. Last week we had the Morgan Stanley Tech Conference, which had some speakers from different companies talking, and that could move some of these companies, right? So certainly things to keep an eye on. Monitor news feeds ahead of time to stay ahead of potential volatility. Another example from last week on a smaller scale, GE Aerospace had a conference, and GE had a nice little bump to the upside after that. So just be aware of what companies are reporting, what companies have events going on, and just kind of be cognizant of that to kind of keep an eye on what names might be hot that day. Price action also worth noting. Keep an eye out for erratic price movements. Are you seeing stocks experiencing certain sudden jumps or dips that wouldn't be typical during normal trading? Because this could also increase during, it could indicate increased buying or selling pressure, which can be a sign of volatility brewing. One really good example is I remember when Obi was here, I believe, right before New Year's. Shout out to Obi substituting in for Sharif. We were talking a lot about how he said when he was trading Amazon, he would become accustomed to how the tape would move. So if the tape was moving differently, he could tell something was a bit amiss. So I think, that's one example of especially if you know how a stock is moving and you're seeing a little bit of funky price action, that could be a sign of some extra volatility. So shout out to Obi. I think that's a pretty fun example for sure. Technical indicators. There are quite a few that can help you gauge volatility. Sharif talking a lot earlier about average true range. ATR, this can help measure the average price fluctuation over a set period. A rising ATR can suggest increased volatility. You also have Bollinger Bands, which can be helpful because they will widen when volatility increases and then contract when things are a little calmer. So based on the width of the bands, you can get a sense of how volatile and how wild the price action is getting. Volatility index, the VIX, of course, a little bit related to volatility as indicated by its name. This one created by the Chicago Board Options Exchange, that's CBOE, as a numeric measure of market volatility. And so it can kind of gauge future bets investors are making on the direction of individual assets and on the wider market. And a high VIX reading may indicate or imply a little bit of a riskier market. We also have trading volume to keep an eye on. Market volatility can often coincide with higher trading volume, and a sudden surge in volume compared to usual activities we were looking at for individual stocks can really be a sign of volatility on the horizon. Volatility looming, ready to strike. Market sentiment is also a really good sign of things as they're happening before they occur, right? News articles, social media, and analyst opinions can all contribute to overall market sentiment. I've spoken a lot about how I find Twitter can be an interesting indicator for volatility or for stocks about to move. Moderna had that massive move up today. Neil was saying at one point this one was up 11%. There were no news catalysts on Moderna, but there was a lot of Twitter mentions for Moderna, more than you normally see. It was like people were chatting about it like it was a small cap gapper. Moderna, mRNA, right? So looking at Twitter sometimes can give you a sense of, not necessarily always news, but it can give you a sense of what people are looking at, what their eyes are on, and how people are feeling about a stock. So it's a nice volatility gauge for sure. Last but not least, beware of extremes. If there's any widespread bullishness or bearishness, that can show that we have strong emotions, which can fuel more volatility. Let's take a look here actually at Moderna, mentioning that, because I think that's a really good example of how we can have massive spikes on catalysts that might not be there or might not be as prevalent as you think they might be. Yeah, Moderna, as you can see here, we have these massive volume spikes to the upside. Oh, Moderna is actually getting rangy now. Hi, Moderna. We have these kind of the opposite of what AMD is doing in a lot calmer of a way. We just kind of have these bounces off VWAP. Moderna actually, I think Moderna will get a spot on the coveted side charts alongside the GLP-1 names. I think this is a nice little look here for Moderna, just kind of bouncing off that VWAP. How was your, I see that NQ trade.
Yeah, just got out of one piece here, looking for that move back up. My line in the sand is going to be the break of 55. Somebody was asking me why I got into the future, because it's been bouncing off VWAP all morning. I mean, saving except for a couple of wicks down over here, the majority of the closing prints are all above the volume weighted average price from essentially 1145 onwards. So we dipped into VWAP over here, looking to possibly scalp a little bit on the future off this range trade. We'll see. My line in the sand is going to be the making of the newer low. So if it breaks below the low of this wick over here at 55, that's where we're going to draw the line. I already took one out on it for a nice winner through 73s. We'll see if we can get that next move into 77s. I'm sitting at on the other side, but we're getting a little bit of volatility right now. Let's see how we resolve on the future. Right back above 70 we go again. I'm looking at some of these big cappers. You're not seeing anything really break out or break down. The one that we were talking about for strength was Google. I ended up getting stopped out of that, so it broke down below my level here on Google. So we had to draw the line in the sand there. Got long, and then it broke down below this key area of support over here at 138.45. So that's where we draw the line there. But the future is coming right back down. Again, a lot of volatility near this VWAP area. That's why I put my low below the low of the bottom of the wick, not below the bottom of the closing price, because of this volatility. So we'll see if we can get something on the other side of 70s and whether we or not we can hold this volume weighted average price, which we've been doing the majority of the afternoon. If not, line in the sand is drawn. Keeping my eye on Disney though, because this one now rejecting off that 112.70 and coming back down into 112.50. So it looks like the market's getting some weakness, and down goes the future. So that's going to be the end of the trade on my future there, on the futures trade, as this one comes down below my entry or below my stop. So we'll take a little bit of a hit there, and one profit, but definitely still negative on that trade. We'll have to look to reset some other way. I'm seeing everything now come down on the Mag 7 world, baby. We are on the way down. NVIDIA on the way down. Apple on the way down. Google as well. We got stopped at Google as well. And Microsoft on its way to 403 as well, which is where VWAP is on MSFT. So a lot of Mag 7 names curling back down. Where do we end up on the day? It's kind of a range trade, I would say, for the majority of these names, even though you got some curls on some of them. So keep watching, looking for another trade here as the one that Knob always says, what is the next trade, baby? Tom H says Apple pull down. I see it. It's rejecting off VWAP. It was a really good short for whoever got involved with AAPL off VWAP today. So there you go. Sell the frowny face, Michael Noss likes to say. And there you go. We have that trough as well at 172.25. Now we're printing below that. So if you were looking for an area of support off which to bounce and maybe range trade with 172.25 to the bottom and VWAP to the top, well, we just broke below that area. So where could we find some support? Well, 172 was the pre-market high, right? When we got into around 8 o'clock, 8:30 or so, we couldn't really break through that 172. It wasn't until we got close to the bell there around 9:15 that we started breaking through that 172 level. And it looks like we're going to see 172 awfully soon. Here comes Apple, 172.10. We could get that 172 bounce if we are to respect that pre-market high or pre-market high range, I would say. It's not a high. Here comes 172.06 now on AAPL. That whole dollar level coming fast and furious. So we're going to pull that up on the side. We're going to take Google off and keep eyes on Apple, because if this one starts curling up off that level, then we may want to get long. But it looks like it's on the way down right now as the future is on the way down. Killer Cam. I love that name, by the way. Yeah, it remembers me of Cameron from the 90s, right? Yeah. You ever hear that song, Horse and Carriage?
I don't know that one, but there's some other Cameron songs, Cam.
Neil? He knows exactly what he started bobbing his head.
He's like, yeah,
he's already jamming to it in his head. Eh?
Obi likes Cameron.
Does he really? The one that Knob likes Cameron?
You know why?
Yeah, the rapper Cameron. Oh, because boy. Obi's sitting there looking at me like he has no idea what I'm talking about. He's like, I don't like Cameron. It's because he says, oh boy, right? Yes, Neil, it took me a minute to get that, but that was actually a good one. That's like
a really good one.
Yeah, I know, you probably like that too. Yeah, Dipset, there we go, Alvin. He knows exactly what I'm talking about. Oh, baby. Neil's jamming up a storm, I love it. All right, what do we got, Adara? Adara, do we take this 172 long here on Apple, or what are we doing over here?
Can I look at this? I can't tell.
Absolutely.
This is another one where I can't tell if it's a rhetorical, but I'd like to get involved. 172 long. Ooh, okay. So here's my thing. We are kind of coming into that earlier area that we had a little bit of resistance. So that could be an interesting look for Apple for 172. Where would the stop be for this?
172 break.
Okay. So yeah, that makes sense then. I like this. And then I think you could, if you want, you could take some beak waters here at 172.40. Because 172.40 was a little bit of an area.
Exactly.
Yeah, I like this. And then you go 172.65, and then you save a piece for the trade at 173.
Why not? What is life without whimsy? Let's get long here. We're gonna put a line in the sand at 172. We'll tell you how we do. What are you looking at?
Yeah, that's the. What I'm looking at is a little bit of some rough trades, but I'm also proud of myself for where I exited, and I think sometimes that matters. This Tesla, even as we had that sell-off, Tesla for a while was still holding that 178.40 like a glove, and that was an area we had a little bit of support and resistance earlier. I said, don't mind if I do, and then Tesla fell. I got out right when we got into that earlier area there, that 178.17. So I have no regrets, honestly. I'm happy with this trade. Also, you and I were in the futures at the same time, but we were involved in different futures. You were in the net NQ. And I was in the spine. I think we got out at the exact moment. Another case where I'm happy with where I got out here, because we got out near where we had that earlier kind of resistance, that support that I thought, if we can't hold this, we're gonna have to go here at that 510.40. 510.50. We didn't hold it. We only lost about 17 pennies here. I'm very much down in the day. I want to make that very clear. We're up on Tesla, up on Novo Nordisk, surprisingly flat on Nvidia despite that really rough trade earlier. But yeah, really just trying to see what the market has. It's always hard in these days where we kind of fall off later in the day, because I like my ranges, and the ranges sometimes wave goodbye. But that's all right. That's what we're doing here trading. We're learning, we're growing, and we're trying to get better one step at a time. And we have some dollar clip tickets for Sean. AMD. Are still the 212 or 202, 201, 14? Oh, $200.50 short for Sean AMD. Ooh, $1 and
dollar in the money, baby.
Nice look there. Yeah, this is just the SPY. There's something I wanted to pull up. Novo Nordisk actually looking kind of interesting here. That's going to be like a habit for me to break, saying that Novo Nordisk. Now that I've heard Novo Nordisk, which I think might be more correct. But yeah, this one's kind of interesting. We had that pop here off that 90 MA, pushing above VWAP. I want to kind of wait and see what we do here. If we develop a range, don't mind if I do, but I don't want to get involved too hastily because Novo Nordisk has given you opportunities in every direction. And let's look at my pal Eli Lilly as well, because I haven't given her a lot of love lately. But to be fair, that's because her spread is a little bit crazy. This actually could be a nice long, though. And I say that because look at all these candles we had. A little couple dojis. Now we're trying to make this pop back up here. Honestly, I'm kind of tempted to go long Lilly. What is life without whimsy? The spread's not even that bad. The spread's like 20 pennies. Eli Lilly's really trying to tempt me over here. Oh, Mahmoud saying, check the Russell for a short. I haven't looked at the Russell at all today. So let's look at my old pal, Russ. Let's see how this one's doing.
Is it rustling?
Yeah, every day I'm rustling. Okay, yeah, this would be interesting. Honestly, for me, I think I see it a bit more maybe as a range long because we're kind of coming to this area that we had a little bit of resistance earlier. I honestly, though, I don't have a clear enough read on this to take it either direction. So I appreciate you calling this one out. But yeah, I think for myself, it's like not anything I have any play right now, though. I want to keep an eye on it and see where we go from here. Eddie R's comment on AMD is pretty funny here, too. AMD's going to hire a hitman to address Sean's shorting. I
gave him an LMAO there.
Yeah, Sean, AM destroyed there. AM getting Sean's destroying that one with the shorts.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, really nice look there. What name was I just looking at? Eli Lilly. I think we might have to play with fire a little bit with Miss Lilly, see how Mademoiselle's doing this fine afternoon. How was it with Apple?
It's all right. We're like a few pennies in the money. We got our first profit taker at 25. Definitely looking for that move back in to 40. The line in the sand is 172, so we don't have to really look for areas to get out. That's going to be the line this end. There's clearly a hidden seller at 25. This is like the fourth time we've moved up into 25 and haven't been able to cross on the 1 minute. So let's see if we can get back up there and actually cross this time. Kind of a peculiar area to have resistance, but there's been 1, 2, 3, 4 now touches at that level on the 1 minute. On the 1 minute look that we haven't been able to break that 172 and a quarter on AAPL, but if we get up above 172 and a quarter, we'll be looking to de-risk definitely in front of that $0.50 as we do have this bottom end consolidation area with which to contend. So I mean, if support flips to resistance, we definitely need to be aware of that. So we'll be looking to de-risk. But to be honest with you, this feels like way more of a scalp trade than a real bounce long here, as this bounce off that general 172 area is awfully anemic and not in the way that you would want to look for a key level of support to bounce off. So right now, not really happy with this trade, but happy with where I got in because it doesn't give me that much. So say for example, I got in at a little higher at 172.40. I would have to give it to 172 or that general area. So I'd have to give it 40 pennies worth of range. And that's not what I want, right? I want a very tight area so that I know if I'm wrong quite quickly. And I'll know if I'm wrong if it breaks below 172. And it's on its way there right now. This looked like it's going to give way, to be honest. I think Apple breaks 172 right now, if I had to guess, because of just how it's trading. It doesn't look like it wants to bounce off that level. We'll continue to watch, see what we get. The line in the sand is drawn, baby. The other one that we've been looking at all day is DIS. So this has been giving you some opportunities here to get in off that 112.40. A bit of a double bottom where it found support at that 112.40 general area. Now coming back up into 60s. The high of the day is either 69 or 70 or thereabouts right there. That's the crest. So we're on our way, looks like, to that high of day again. It's been higher highs and higher lows. The volume is a little light on Disney, though, if I can say so. I mean, it's not going to be trading 15, 20 million shares like Apple or Tesla. On Disney, we've only done 1.32 million shares, which is good. It's not bad, but it's not like, you know, that rocket type of I would say volume on the day where, you know, you could just get in, get out at any minute. All right, so we did take some profit there on Apple through the $0.25, but I'm still a little suspicious about this name and just how it's retracing back up. I feel like the short is a lot better on this name than the long, even though we're taking it off a key level. So we'll sit and wait. We'll put more orders on the other side of 30s. We'll sit at 35s. We sat at 25, so we'll sit at 35s over here. What's going on? Oh my goodness. All right, I gotta send it to you because I just fat fingered.
Okay, yeah, no
All right,
worries.
there we go. I got it. All right, so I just added to my position. I just took it out again. This one popped in to 35s. We see if we can get up in it to 40. So I'm looking at this area over here. It's going to be that general 50, 55 area. Below that is this area over here at 31. But it looks like we're going to break through this area, at least for now. We'll see if we get that on a closing basis on Apple. Let's see if we can make it up into the $0.50 there.
Yeah, let's, nice trade there, getting some peak winners there, a couple chomps of the apple on the way to the upside.
I like that.
Yeah, I mean, involved in Eli Lilly, and I am proud to announce we are exactly flat on this trade. We're at my point of entry. Sorry, we're 1 penny in the money. Now we're 4 pennies out. But yeah, I got involved at 733.74s, looking to take some profit here at that 735 area, saving a piece for the dream before that 740, but that's kind of a bit of an ambitious dream. That's like the equivalent of my 12-hour sleep over the weekend, so who knows if we'll get that, but it's there just in case. I'll be getting out if we break below that 732. You have to give Miss Lily some wiggle room because she does like to have a larger spread, much like NVIDIA. B, I like this area of, we had some resistance earlier, came into support, came into resistance, came into support. That 732 to me seems a little bit fertile for an opportunity to either leave if we break it or add if we hold it. So that's the look there on Mademoiselle Lily. For right now, I have no complaints. Please do sponge. Also Tesla. We got that pop up in Tesla. I tried to take the long. We fell below my area of interest. I arguably didn't give it enough room, but that's okay. The long was wrong and we left. However, I'm going to be really cognizant of this because if we can't break this 179 again, look at how many rejections of 179 we had. This could be a bit of a range short for me. You take 179 to that 179.50 area, and I think maybe you use your exit point around that 179 to 178.50. Then you might want to use that 178. And when I say you, I mean me. That 178.925. Give it about 25 pennies to run. I think this could be perhaps a tasty short.
Yeah, somewhat your battery is on the fritz again. So I got to take over while you do that battery. Thank you, Ram. All right, we did get some more out on Apple there at the third of a dollar, 172.33, but down right back it goes into the $0.25 again. So we'll pack our patience, 172, line in the sand on this one. But as I look over at the future, I feel so bamboozled because I feel like we've been ranging with the VWAP as our support and 18,000 as our resistance. And that's the basis upon which I got into that futures trade, only to be wicked out here as it broke below 50. But here we go, right back up again, near 18,000. Not quite back up there yet. We're at 95s, it looked like. But look, every single time we've come into 18,000, subsequent to this 1105 print over here, this is the last time we were closing well above 18,000 when we got up into 18,020. Every single 18,000 touch has sold off. You could even make the case that this break here, well past 18,000 to 18,020, was also a fake out breakout because, well, look where the majority of the closing prints are. They're all really close to 18,000. That's number one. Number two, you spend no time above 18,000 and you reject with the viciousness, as Adira likes to say, dipping down right back in and barely holding 17.9 off that 18,000 break. So is this going to be another rinse and repeat where we make our way back up to 18 or thereabouts, and then it's kind of time for the shorts to get involved in Huadunk this market? So we're going to be packing our patience to watch to see what we get here on the future as we do that another 18,000 move. But I think it's probably time to wet some more beaks here on the Apple trade. The next trade I'm going to set up is going to be near 45s or so as we make our way back into mid-30s here on AAPL. But to be honest with you, it's not the best trade. I'm not happy with it, but it's something to be in. I'm keeping my eye definitely on 18,000 again on the NQ March contract tomorrow. And going forward off tomorrow, we will be on the June contract, baby. We typically roll here on Mondays, but I was kind of caught off guard a little bit when the Katina man mentioned it. So tomorrow we will be looking at the June contract, and that presents us with whole new levels. And so when we talk about 18,000 today, we may not be talking about 18,000 tomorrow. I haven't even looked at what the levels are on the June contract. We'll talk more about that. Here we go on Apple as we come into 40s. So we'll wet our beak there. We get a partial fill. We'll see if we get that full fill as we make our way right back up into that 40 penny area again. So we hold 172 or thereabouts for now. The low of the day technically is 172.05. Here comes 50s, mid 40s printing now on AAPL, looking to go back up 1%. It's 0.98 right now. It's well below VWAP, let's be real. So this one sold off after having a decent move. It sold off big boy off that 134 and a third move that it, 174, excuse me, and a third move that it did today. Now it's well below that at 172 and just a little bit above a third. So $2 essentially off the high here. If we can make our way into VWAP, which again is at 173.10, that would be a fantastic scenario for me. That takes us all the way into up here. But I really have my doubts about the kind of strength Apple is going to have midday, especially with no catalyst. They report in April, right? Let's find out when Apple reports.
Yeah, I think so, because they reported late January last time.
Right, and the reason I'm talking randomly like that about Apple reporting is because we kept talking about June being the day or the time that we all wanted to have our eye out for that AI catalyst. Like, are they going to tell us about an AI-enabled phone that may come out in the fall? Are they going to tell us anything about their plans for AI, right? And so we were all waiting for that developer conference in June. But there is a good chance that we hear something about this during earnings. So let's go ahead and bring in the side chart over here with the earnings date, which I just lost, by the way. Let's look. Apple end of month. Okay. I don't have the earnings date right now, so I'll have to look for that later. But yeah, basically that's my thinking there, that we may hear something with respect to their AI plans coming up on their earnings day. I don't think we actually have to wait until June. Anyway, put some out there for 45, see if we can get filled. We've been knocking on the door of 40. We broke up a little bit above 40 here, Ram on AAPL, but weren't able to make it up into 45. So it's been a zigzagging, a higher highs and higher lows, but we'll pack our patience, see what we get.
Yeah, packing the patience, very important on this day. This has not been my day. Like I said, March and I have not been the best of trading buddies, but that's okay because I think I've learned a lot as well in these choppier markets, and it's basically to kind of try to trust your instincts.
The big boy, AKA the Katina man, is also long Apple at 172. Just put that out there.
Okay, Sean and Sharif there in twinning trades. I love that. Yeah,
Killer Katina, baby.
Killer Katina.
There it goes, Killer Katina. Yeah, I didn't mean to interrupt you, Phil.
No, it's
I just
okay,
wanted to let everybody know the Katina man is trading Apple. Yeah.
There you guys are both there taking bites out of the apple together, stepping into the ring. Tim cooking. Yeah, congrats. They're nice trades.
What?
I don't know.
Tim cooking. Okay, that was good. I'll give you that.
Appreciate that. Try to keep it interesting. You know what I mean? You want to spice it up a little bit. Although I don't want to spice it up, but like we can spice up the puns.
I get what you mean, figuratively.
Thank you. I like this Tesla short still, but we're getting close to my point of exit where I'll be violently thrown out of the Cybertruck because I said I was watching that 179.20. It did happen to have some confluence with VWAP, but I was more interested in that area because look at this area that we kind of held, interestingly, as an area of support earlier, which is going to be just above 179.20s. That was the main reason I like that area, but the VWAP was a nice, happenstance. If we break above that, I'm going to have to leave the trade. I already have a Beakwater set for 178.50. We got just shy of there, and then we continued to run up, unfortunately. So we're going to keep an eye on this level. No regrets, though. I have no reason to leave this trade, so I won't. Eli Lilly deciding that she'd like to be a little bit indecisive. We're continuing. Like I said, I'm watching to kind of see what we do at 732 because that was an earlier area of resistance that kind of became an area of support. So we're going to have to watch and see what we do here. We're still above that. We're about. The spread here has gotten wider. It's about 50 penny spread, but we're roughly 50 pennies on the buy side away from this. So we have some room. We're getting closer, but we're just going to stay in this trade until I have a decisive reason to leave. Tesla's still not giving me a reason to leave. NVIDIA, I'm going to be keeping my eye on as well. We might step back into this one because we are having a bit of a rejection here off VWAP. I know Compass X was mentioning the range in this one, kind of that 867, 866 area being a bit of a top of a range now. It was the bottom of a range earlier, so I do think this could be an interesting flip from support to resistance. This is a name I have had my eye on. We had a really ill-conceived trade in this earlier, and then I tried to look at it better, look at it with more foresight, and it ended up working out here. So just going to be keeping an eye on this. There's definitely, I think, some opportunities for a 867 short, but I want to kind of wait there. And I don't want to get involved while I'm still involved in Tesla. I need to wait for that decisive Tesla move to kind of die down. I believe it was Damian Oliveris earlier mentioning Microsoft. I haven't really looked at Microsoft today here, although I was looking at my side chart. This is an interesting one. We have higher highs, or higher lows. The highs are a little bit more confused. We kind of come into this double top here of the 404.40. Then we move down here into 403.80. Then we come back into 404.20. So a little bit, the highs are a little bit less consistent, but higher lows for sure. I think this is certainly, we have some consolidation and there's a nice buying opportunity. The 3-minute on this, a little bit rangier, so I might keep my eye on this. There could be some opportunities here for MSFT, but I'm not getting involved in anything until I am safely exiting the Cybertruck, because we know that Tesla likes to have a mind of her own. Kyle Burdett saying AMD and NVIDIA charts looking similar, so let's look at these. Yeah, I do kind of concur. I know I keep saying I'm going to take AMD off my side chart, but apparently I can't get away from it. AMD here, yeah, AMD, an interesting look here on the side chart. Sean, are you still short AMD? 250. Yeah, so Sean is back in the dollar club there. Money, money, money for that AMD short.
Now it's $200.19.
Oh, sorry, $200.19. So 50-cent club, still a club. We're still partying there with AMD. Congrats to Sean. Shout out to Sean for that short. That was so many SH sounds all together. But yeah, AMD and then NVIDIA. Yeah, I see what you mean, Kyle Burdett. The shapes there are very similar. You have that peak, then you kind of have these, a bit of a range, and the range goes lower. Yeah, thank you for pointing that out. It's a very similar look. This NVIDIA gives you about $3 of range here. I might have to take a look at that because it looks like the Cybertruck does not want me to be part of it anymore. Lily's falling down. Time to look for some new trades. You know, we talk about rotation in the markets. It might be rotation in my range trades right now. So good to look at. Paul saying, NVIDIA is the latest company to be sued over allegedly using copyrighted works and training artificial intelligence systems. Yes, that's in the watch list this morning with regards to that Nemo model that's apparently being trained with some novelist works. So, yeah, thank you for reminding me of that.
They're training their own LLM?
Yeah, apparently the Nemo.
Interesting, because they weren't doing that. They were just providing the hardware for the training. I didn't know they were doing
as far as I'm aware. I'm trying to find what's happening with the Nemo. But
yeah, I definitely want to find out what's going on there. Yeah, I definitely have to have a read through that because that's super interesting. Yeah, here it is. Complies with copyright author's complaint. NVIDIA said its Nemo artificial intelligence platform was created in full compliance with copyright law after a group of authors filed a class action. So basically, I don't really care about that. I just didn't know that they were training their own LLM. Super interesting there because we've heard, you know, ChatGPT, Google, everybody getting complaints from the Wall Street Journal, the New York Times, etc., about, you know, using all their information to train their language models, and there's been back and forth between those companies, but I didn't know that NVIDIA was included in that as well. So interesting. All right. So we did get some profit takers before that moved down on Apple at 45. So I was able to get a little bit more profit here. I still have my other profit taker sitting on the other side of 50. So if we're able to break 50 on a closing basis and come into 55, then I'll print on that. Otherwise, it's looking awfully anemic, like a dead cat bounce right now. I got to tell you the truth. Here on Apple, spurred a lot by that topping tail candle that we put in at 18,000. Yet another move into 18,000. This one a bit more aggressive than the previous ones to catch everybody offside who had their stops maybe in the mid 18,000, mid single digit 18,000s or thereabouts, comes into that 200 period on the 5-minute, and then right back down below 18,000 we go. We're printed in the 70s, 80s right now. So it's been a very rangy day on the futures with typically 19,000 at its most, 17,009 at its most extreme and 18,000 at its, say that again, Katina man? On AMD. AMD, yet another Dollar Club winner for the Katina men on AMD, as that one, forget about 200. Now this one's on its way down to 199, 4%. I still think it looks better than Intel though, even though Intel's up 1.6 on the day. I take AMD over Intel.
I know you're not a big Intel fan, are you?
Well, you know, it's not really my call. It's up to the stock. If it wants to make me a fan, it'll do better. But clearly, it's decided that it wants to be part of the mediocre club.
Oh.
I'm just teasing my friend Neil. He knows that. What are you looking at there, dear?
Yeah, what I'm looking at is, oops, you know what I mean? We were involved in this. That's not really an answer, but it also kind of is. We were involved in this NVIDIA long here off the bottom of that range because we were holding that range really nicely. We held. I watched it hold. We got in. It kind of held. Then it was like, you know what, Adara fell to the downside. That's okay. We got out. We got out. Dignity semi-intact. We got out. No, I'm joking. It's all good. Yeah, we're back to negative on this name, unfortunately. Eli Lilly still working. I have no reason to leave. Like I said, we've been having these really nice little bounces off that 732 area I was watching. So we're going to stay in this for the time being. What I'd really like, though, is us reclaiming back that 733, then moving into that 733.50. I would be pleased as punch if we can do that. But yeah, not a lot of green trades for me. I'm going to be really honest. My timing on this has just been really rough. But trying to grow, trying to learn, and trying to get better here as well. Jimbo Slice saying Intel is the Dallas Cowboys of chip stocks. Whew.
I want to see Neil defend this, right? Like, no, the Cowboys are really good. Right? Come on, Neil.
Or you have to defend the Cowboys by saying
Amen. I'm not the one that's championing Intel, so I'm not going to see anything about anything at the moment. Jimbo's like, all right, okay. We see you, Jimbo. We see you. We did make a move back up Adara here on AAPL after giving me a bit of a pseudo heart attack there. And here we go right back into that $0.50 off that $0.25 dip. So another dead cat bounce here. Are we gonna block up again at the $0.50? We definitely couldn't break through the $0.50 last time around. I'm watching this time to see if we do. Maybe take a little bit more out at 45 is what I did last time. But I feel like we might have a better shot of breaking and holding above the $0.50 owing to this higher low that we put in here at $0.25. So we'll keep watching. It's the only trade I'm in at the moment, but yeah, we'll continue to watch. Jimbo Slice, people only know the name because they have been around forever. But as far as what have you done for me lately? Look, whoa. Apple. What's going on? Something's going on here, guys. Apple's absolutely flying up. Something's going on with Apple here. I have no idea what. It just popped up big through that once. Hey, something's cooking, he says the Chile nightmare. Here comes 173. We'll take out, say it again. Tim is cooking. I should kind of be a little bit more present to that because, well, you know, it's Tim Cook. Apple's absolutely flying up here. What is going on? Apple pumping through 173.25. I see a print there as high as 173.44. This is a big move up for Apple here. Let's see what we get here, Adara. I have no idea what to account for this, but big move up for Apple.
Yeah, congrats to you. I mean, I know you went from your pseudo heart attack to like this wonderful move to the upside. Maybe having a heart attack from excitement there.
Oh yeah,
that's an awesome look. Congrats.
I like it.
That's a beautiful trade. I wish I had a beautiful trade to speak of to bring you here. We're still in Eli Lilly. We're still chilly in Eli Lilly, and now we're not because we broke below that 732 area. So. Alas, I have to probably make my exit. I'm going to wait and see what we do here because we're still actually above it on the sell side. So I'm going to watch. I'm going to be a little bit more patient, which is not a trait I'm known for, admittedly. That was a big thing. You know, Sharif asked me when I first started, would you say you're patient? And I said, not in the short term. And that's definitely impacted my trading, sometimes for better and sometimes for worse. I would say it's helped my scalping. I would not say that it's helped in terms of kind of staying in moves here, but we are breaking below here, so I'm going to have to say au revoir, and we're going to have to say adieu to Mademoiselle Lily. I'm going to keep it French. There we go. Bye, Lily. We'll see if this should get Philly, so we're going to have to wait and see. Yeah, this spread here, like, pardon? Oh, never mind. Sorry, I was really confused there. But yeah, that's all good. We're going to have to see if we get filled here in Lily because we should have there. But that's okay. Also, I want to say a quick shout out to our lovely sponsors at Benzinga. This is where I went to look for that Apple move, although I haven't seen anything to explain that wonderful move up beyond.
Oh, yeah. Are you
Sharif
seeing anything?
It moved the market. Who knows? But yeah, I'm looking here.
Here it is. Apple is testing new AI-powered tool for optimizing App Store ad campaigns. I mean, we heard about some meta stuff with respect to them using AI to kind of circumvent the advertising blocks that Apple had put on them. Remember, they used to use a lot of the tracking feature on your phone, and then apparently they switched to an AI-based model, and it's been quite successful for them, so maybe this is good. Not the AI news that we're looking for, and even not the AI news specific to the App Store, because Dan Ives was on, I believe, a few weeks ago on another network, and he was making the case that there could actually be an Apple AI App Store. So an entire app store dedicated to AI, or some subset of the app store that would be exclusively for AI-powered apps. We haven't seen anything like that. Typically we don't get these announcements from Apple. We just sort of hear the news. So anyway, I'm out of Apple at the moment. The top print that I got there was 173.10, and now it's doing the dance here, 172 3/4. Whether this was a short off the top or not doesn't really make a difference, because the fact of the matter is we were long down here at 172. So even if you caught that 173, I'm happy for you guys. I'm happy for you. I mean, you see sometimes Neil and Sean take completely counter trades. One's long, one's short. Somehow they both end up printing. And that's kind of like a perfect example of that. You catch that big boy move up. Someone who's already in it catches the big boy move up, and that's kind of the look there. So we're seeing what we get on Apple. It's not the Apple headline that I think we're all waiting for, though, and it's not like they had issues where they were, I mean, Meta had to go to an AI-powered ad model because they couldn't track you anymore, but Apple can. I mean, that's the thing. So why would you want to switch to the AI model? But anyway, we'll see what they get. I don't know too much about digital advertising, so I think I'm punching out of my weight class here. We'll see how this is digested by the market in the next couple of days, maybe even sooner than that. It's up off that news, though, so we'll see.
Yeah, nice. Yeah, thank you for Neil as well putting that one in the chat earlier too. So thank you so much to everybody in the chat putting this one out there. Yeah, I think that really someone here was saying nothing burger. Yeah, Tobias Hernandez saying nothing burger emoji. Yeah, I think in terms of the AI story for Apple, potentially. But yeah, congrats to you on that awesome trade there. Got a nice little move to the upside.
Well, I wouldn't be so quick to call it a nothing burger. I mean, are we really all that well versed in Apple and digital ad sales to know exactly if something is going to be a nothing burger or not, right? But yeah, we'll see. We'll see.
No, I appreciate
time will tell. Time will tell. Yeah.
That's a good point. Yeah, because I mean, that's the thing too, right? Is that especially because there's all these other digital ad and AI stories happening too, right?
Yeah.
That could make it even better point. So thank you for that.
And they didn't do that well yesterday in the Oscars, by the way, too. So
they didn't.
No, they didn't, right? Like none of their movies did well. It was Netflix that kind of stood out really from the bunch, right? From the streamers.
Well, yeah, of the streamers, Netflix, but yeah, because Disney, the one big chance there would have been.
Studio A24 was the killer, apparently.
Yeah, A24 is always killing it. But yeah, Disney, there was one I was thinking about. Apple. We're talking about Apple. Apple had Killers of the Flower Moon, and that did not. Unfortunately, I thought that was what I thought was going to win, but Killers of the Flower Moon, that was their big shot for Apple.
Yeah.
That was their big, Apple actually did have a Best Picture winner a couple of years ago in Coda.
Yeah.
So they have one, but that honestly, I think, probably a worse movie than Killers of the Flower Moon, if I'm being honest.
I haven't watched either.
Yeah, Coda was not my fave, but I have to say, regardless, the point I'm trying to make is Apple definitely, I think, getting stronger as a studio, even though they lost that Oscar. That's my take on that, because I think in terms of, you had Martin Scorsese helming Killers of the Flower Moon, which is a much better pedigree. So I have to say, that's my take on that.
Yeah, that's
as someone who's interested in film, take that for what it's worth, but I do think that Apple should not be so discouraged that it lost the Oscar because they did take the win in terms of the movie had a lot of nominations, a lot of pedigree. Fabian, who I trust as a source on this, is nodding. So thank you there for the support there from Fabian.
The Chilean Nightmare, baby, killing it on the ones and twos. And may I point out, not that hesitant to put the camera, unlike somebody else. Goes by the name
You're
of
always looking for ways to shade me.
I heard her voice. There she is. Goes by the name of Ram. And your post with Ram for International Women's Day got a lot of love, by the way. Yeah, and people were like, Ram, oh my God, we can actually see what she looks like. So that was awesome. I really
we're all Ram fans. I put Ram chart in the comments there, which I know you immediately liked.
Of course.
But yeah, no, I thought that was pretty amusing. Also, yeah, I do want to take a quick moment here to thank Benzinga, which now, as you can see, has the story here. Apple's begun testing an AI-powered ad product, but also we are brought to you by Benzinga Pro, and you can test them out. You can sign up today for 50% off their premier news and research platform for retail traders. All you have to do is use code TTV, capital letters, that is TTV, capital letters. Use the link in the description to go to checkout. I find them to be really helpful. Shrif's always saying I always have mine open. I really do. I am very interested indeed in what is going on in Benzinga because I do find there's a lot of helpful news there. Also, Eli Lilly, come on now, girl. You're starting to form a new range without me. That's okay. I got out. We broke below my area. Please, this punch. Sometimes I actually think that that getting you can be proud of a trade even if you got out where it failed, and that's something I've learned a lot from.
100%.
Right? Yeah. That's something I've learned a lot from being here as well. Because I used to think just because a trade didn't work out that oh my god, it's like some huge failure in my part. That's not the case. And one thing that Neil said that really stuck out to me is your losing trades should be boring, and that's exactly what happened here for Eli Lilly. I have nothing to report other than I lost out.
Oh wow, that's actually a really good saying. Yeah, because then if it's exciting, then you probably got rinsed.
That's
you know
true.
what I mean? Like, because if it came back down aggressively, it's probably not a good thing. But yeah, look, you hear the big kahunas trying to troll me all the time for my plug trade, for the Lee Auto trade. But the fact of the matter is, those were really small losing trades, right? And I think that's why they troll me for it, because I got out for small losing trades. Because when you look at where they went subsequent to that, they went really a lot lower, right?
Especially plug.
Plug, especially. Not so much Lee. I mean, I didn't mean really Lee in that context, but plug absolutely got destroyed. UNG as well, by the way, Nat Gas. And I think really the whole idea here is to take a smallest bath you can on your losers, right? I mean, the whole point of why I'm trying to say that is because that could be a really good trade. Getting out of a loser could be one of the best trades you made. I mean, you got to preserve your capital. Otherwise, you're not going to have anything with which to trade, with which to invest, right? So some of your best trades can be actually losers because you saved yourself from more pain, I would say, right? And I think that's why, I get trolled sometimes for that, but it's all good. It's the way around here.
It's good to learn from, too. Yeah.
Yeah. So Apple all the way right back down, baby. So we were printing at 55s, and now this is doing the dance here in the 40s. However, if you take away this, say 10-minute window, it's still putting in some higher lows over here. So initially we bottomed out at 172.05. That's technically the low on the day. And then this trough over here took us to 172.25. And now we're holding up at 172.33. So save and accept this one big, huge movement over here when we got the AI news. Apple's putting incrementally higher lows off that bottom. So if you were getting long on this name for the 172 hold, which is why I got long on this name, which is why the Katina got long, the Katina man got long on this name, you only benefited from this interim bamboozlement over here through the break of 173 and into almost 173.5. But right back we go to the actual trade, which was holding 172 and looking for higher highs and higher lows. Right back we go again. So we'll see if we can break and hold above 55. Now we're at the door of 55. Yet again, that's where we got the initial profit taker there on that big move up on AAPL. We're not getting anything great on the future, and that's precipitating into dull movements as well on the Mag 7, right? Let's be real about it. The future has been very sideways. For the most of the day, it's been 17.9.5 to 18,000 or thereabouts, and then right back down. There have been the odd time when we dipped into actually 17,900, not the the 50-point level, excuse me. And but for the most part, it's been off those two levels, and that's kind of kept the Mag 7 sideways. So we'll continue to watch. So let's see what Disney's doing. Okay, Disney is the one that I definitely missed out on today. This has been the trade that kept on giving you, irrespective of where you got in. I mean, you could have gotten it at highs at that 112.55 and still been in the money now, because now we're knocking on the door of 112.80. And so we were looking initially to say, okay, well, we're probably going to hold up at this 112.50 area owing to what the level was on March 5th. Well, that March 5th level means nothing at this moment here, because we've broken in well above that. And it looks like we're on our way to lucky number 13. 112.13 we could see on the day if we continue to pump up in this manner. 2 1/5%. We're at day's highs right now. Great look here on Disney. And this is the one that I didn't punch in to because I didn't really have a good area to punch in at. And if you use price action resistance levels and support levels, it didn't really give you anything price action wise. It didn't retrace into a key area of support or reject off a key area of resistance. I mean, it's been kind of holding these moving averages. I would say it's holding the 50 on the 1 minute like a glove. You have initial touch here, another one here, another one over here, and then one over here, and then maybe even a close one over here. It hasn't broken through the 50, so I guess that was the play on the day. Easy to see after the fact, obviously. We'll continue to watch, see whether this one gives us more opportunities to try to bamboozle a trade into DIS. But 2 1/4 now, man, as I've been talking. Disney having a fantastic day. Let's see what people are up to in the chat. Jimbo Slice, Tony Pollard to the Titans on a 3-year, $24 million deal. Good for him, man. I mean, running backs need to get paid. Their tenure in the NFL is so short. They're asked.
Maybe now he can win a ring.
The Katina, man. Bro, you guys didn't win last year either. You did well for the expectations, but you didn't win the Holy Grail. So it was a failing season for the Packers as it was for the Cowboys.
Our over-under
It
was
is.
7 wins.
So what? So what? Did you get any more money for those wins?
Yes.
All right, fine. The Katina man was trolling me. He's like, maybe now Tony can actually get a ring.
Dallas is my second favorite team, bro.
Do you really believe that? I didn't know. No, that's not true. That's not true. Mahmoud, getting out of losers. Sharif, always best to have a firm stop and not a mental stop. I have a mental stop always invites your emotions in. I kind of agree with you there, Mahmoud, because at times when I've put in a mental stop at a key level, I'm like, oh, let me give it another 5 cents. Oh, let me give it another 10 cents. Oh, I see a better support level over here. And you know what ends up happening? It dips like another 30, 40 cents below that level. So I definitely agree with you, Mahmoud, on that. Absolutely bang on. With that, yeah, go Pack, go. All right, yeah, whatever, bro. Nice comment, Sharif. Oh, thank you.
I think it's when you're talking about Disney.
Oh, yeah. What else we got over here? Mr. Memes took a short on what? Tell us. NFLX short, says Jameson. So everything's short right now, but the market kind of curling back up. Oh, let's flip back to Apple. Okay. So Apple making its ways right back up. So we were talking about this one holding that higher low at 172 1/3. Now it's right back up, knock on the door of 173 yet again. Not quite right back up there, but we'll see if we can make our way up to VWAP. VWAP is a little bit higher than 173. It's around 173.10, 173.08. The best fill we have is right at VWAP so far, which is at 173.10. We shall see what we get. Samita says, agreed, mental stops don't work with me too. Look, I mean, I'm not going to say it's a hard and fast rule. I've used mental stops before and gotten out at the right price, but I think it invites a little bit more flexibility, and sometimes you may not want that flexibility, right? You want that line to sanded arrow.
Yeah, I think for me, I find with mental stops, I think it's because part of it is because I am a little bit too line in the sand sometimes. So sometimes I find having the mental stop is a little bit more helpful because it lets me reassess. I still am committed to the level, but it gives me a moment like, hey, is this doing what you thought it would do at this level? And then you kind of get out, right? So sometimes, I mean, I'm not going to say it's 100% perfect. I also have found issues sometimes. I remember one time I was in a Tesla trade, and that thing went $2 against me because for whatever reason, my stop was giving me issues. So yeah, I think sometimes the mental stop is helpful to have as well because I thought I was in cruise control. I was like, oh, my stop set, and the stop just, I got run for whatever reason, right? So yeah, I think I totally understand though, for sure. I just think it's definitely different trains of thought depending on your or I guess schools of thought, depending on your style of trading. Also, I have, we were just talking about Disney and Netflix. Let's talk about some of these other streaming names. I know someone was mentioning Warner Brothers Long working all day, so I apologize, don't remember who this was, but congrats to you. What a nice look here in Warner Brothers. Now we're seeing a nice little chop and churn here around 922 to 924. This can give you some good opportunities. I have to say it's a nice look here. Nice couple of bounces off VWAP, then we start bouncing off the 9 EMA. Were there catalysts on this move? Let's see. not seeing anything, but box office smash for Dune 2, but that was back last week. So yeah, I think nice little move here for Warner Brothers. Definitely everyone has movies on the mind.
Yeah.
After those Oscars and after the Dune 2 situation. Paramount also looking really strong. I love these 2 5-minute candles here. 11:58 selling into 11:54, showing, hey, sellers aren't getting one out here. No siree, Bob. Buyers continuing to move back up here into that 11:62. Nice move here. We are at highs of days for both Paramount and Warner Brothers. They're saying, oh yeah, Disney, you're doing well, but like, hold my movie ticket.
Right.
Hold my ticket stop. Let's continue moving to the upside. Hold my projection reel. I don't know. Nice move up here, though, for Paramount. Yeah, the Hayes record saying, I agree with this too. Hard stops are disciplinary, hence necessary. Yeah, I agree. That's something I am trying to work a little bit towards. I think it's because I've had some technical issues with mine that I am a little bit more wary, but it's something I need to get a little bit more used to. I cannot believe we only have a minute and a half left. The time has flown.
And look at what John said. I mean, this is kind of gives you an idea that everybody just has their own thing, right? He says, I'm long discipline. I'm also long mental stops because they stop you out of good opportunities sometimes. You're right. I mean, you know, when you put in that definite line in the sand on, you know, a small cap gapper that may not respect these even dollar levels, and then, you know, you're 1 or 2 pennies too high. Right? So I totally feel you, but having a wishy-washy rule just invites, I think, it's going to invite trouble because, you know, you use a hard stop on one occasion, a mental stop on another, and you end up using it at the wrong time. You end up using the mental stop at the wrong time. You end up getting rinsed. So I would say choose one or the other, but, you know, stick to it. Anyway, a minute left on the show. Adair, what do you got?
I feel like this time has flown by. Yeah, I have to say, very few positive trades. We are positive Tesla, Novo Nordisk, and that is it. But that's okay, because I feel like we did do some learning. I need to be a little bit scalpier, and I think especially with that first failed NVIDIA trade, and I'm just going to kind of show what I mean here. I looked at it at the 3-minute. I thought I had some opportunities. Clearly, if you look at it at the 5-minute, I basically went long at the top of the range. So that was a mistake. But then I tried to right it the second time around, right? So I think learning from mistakes, taking advantage of every new opportunity is, I think, really important. Mr. Meme saying it's all mental. Yeah, I think a lot of trading is mental, and that's the biggest part that I'm learning. It is 2 o'clock, though. So we will see you tomorrow for some more volatility in the market. Same bad time, same bad channel. For now, Brendan's at the big desk.
Yeah, busy afternoon here. I was just looking at a couple of notes that came out over lunchtime. One including some comments from former